Be cool, be kind, be classy. The cupcakes are sweet and sexy. Have fun, enjoy the journey. Just have a good attorney. No big whoop, no biggie. She lives near New York City. Not just a YouTube show. When you know, you better grab a straw. Learn about the law. It's cool here in the shade, sipping motions of lemonade. Cool heads will prevail, kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Oh, Melanie Little is going live. Oh no, where is Melanie? Follow the island's melody. There's a concert within reach. No surprise, she's at Jones Beach. She heard some music far away. Captain Jack Stack Harbor Bay. He sings and his piano plays. Not all sounds are waterways. Speaking Yiddish and Latin, it's not just for Manhattan. It's for Goethe and Machegas. Ridiculous that insanus. Oy vey, Marcus. Proset, that's for schmucks. Be cool, be kind, be classy. My cupcakes are sweet and sassy. Not just a YouTube show. When you know. Cool heads will prevail. Kindness will never fail. Be classy and vastly wise. Melanie Little is going live.
Good morning. Good morning, my friends. Today is Thursday, July 17th, 2025. Thanks for coming to hang out with me today. I think we found our new case. Because I think we found another defendant who needs to be freed. This is crazy. We talked about this. What's today? Thursday. So we did two shows on Tuesday. We did a show on James Craig, the crazy dentist, who is alleged to have slowly poisoned his wife's protein shakes. And we went over his entire arrest warrant. That was 52 pages long. Then we found out that the trial wasn't going to be televised, despite the media order saying that they could televise openings and closings. And so then news broke on the Karen Reed case that, we don't know if it's the Karen Reed case really yet, that one of the grand jurors was federally indicted or brought up on federal charges for leaking information related to the grand jury, the federal grand jury that may have heard lots of cases, and the Karen Reed case. So we did two shows on Tuesday. And then during the James Craig show, I brought up this other case of Aaron Spencer because somebody had tagged me in a TikTok video, and isn't that usually how it starts? And so we talked about it a bit on Tuesday, and then many of you were interested in it. And then I fell into the rabbit hole yesterday. Like I slept on my head, like I slept in a headstand last night, it feels like. I fell into the rabbit hole, and Aaron Spencer's trial is coming up September 22nd. He's got an August 8th pretrial conference, and it is crazy. So let me just get, you thought Massachusetts was corrupt? Oh, buckle up, buttercups. Buckle up. And yes, there are a lot of people from Arkansas in the chat. What the French toast says, this case is so ridiculous, I donated to his defense fund. It's crazy. It is every father's worst nightmare. It is every parent's worst nightmare. And let me just give you a broad overview, and don't kill me on the details, because I know a lot of you may be from Arkansas and you may have a lot more information than I do. But we're going to look at some news articles. We're going to look at some video. We're going to look at the charges. We're going to look at the court file. You thought Judge Gull and Judge Cannoni were bad. Just wait until you hear about this judge and the lore of Lonoke County, Arkansas. Boy, did I fall into a rabbit hole. I've linked one video below. I'm going to tell you about it later. Don't go there now, but you can go there later. Aaron Spencer is 36 years old, or was 36 at the time. I'm not quite sure. He is a combat veteran, served our country, did a couple of tours in Iraq. I'm not really sure how many. In June of 2024. So this case is only a year old, and it got some media attention in the beginning, but then the judge put a gag order on the case, and so nobody could talk about it. In June of 2024, Erin Spencer's 13-year-old daughter was forcibly, we can't say that word so close, we'll say graped by a neighbor, a 67-year-old man by the name of Michael Fosler. Michael Fosler was brought up on 43 charges. 43 charges, 67-year-old guy. I don't know if there was a delay in her disclosure, which would not at all be unusual because, as you know, during the course of my 3-decade-plus career, I have handled many cases of survivors and victims of childhood SA, including the Catholic Church scandal, including many other cases. And it is very rare that a child ever discloses, not to mention within 6 weeks. Either she disclosed, maybe the parents found out another way. I'm not really sure. We're going to get into that because we're going to look at some statements from the mom. Fosler is arrested on July 11th of 2024. He's brought up on 43 charges. He goes to court. This is in Lonoke County, Lonoke County, Arkansas. And he's released on $50,000 bond and a protective order or restraining order, which, as you know, is a piece of paper. And you may also know that a $50,000 bond is $5,000. Then 4 months later in October, and the dates are the dates are like different everywhere. So let's say October 8th. Let's say October 8th, around midnight, Erin Spencer realizes his daughter is missing. She's not in her room. Freaks out like any parent would, calls 911 to report his daughter missing, gets in his truck, starts to go out to look for her. And by some weird happenstance, he happens to pass by a truck in which his daughter is sitting in as a passenger. And this guy, Michael Fosler, is driving the pickup truck. Somehow, I don't know if there's a chase involved, he runs him off the road and is able to, I don't know how damaged the car was or if they rolled over. I don't know. Was able to get his daughter out of the passenger side of this guy's vehicle. There's some sort of struggle that ensues. I don't know if the guy came after him. We don't know because there's been a gag order on this. Erin Spencer shoots Michael Fosler dead. Leaves him on the side of the road, calls 911 and said, "Oh, I found my daughter." I'm not sure what he said. I'm making this up. "I found my daughter. And by the way, the perpetrator, Michael Fosler, the guy that you let out of jail after he graped my daughter, who's 13, is dead on the side of the road. You might want to go check on him." So what do? They arrest Erin Spencer. And originally they wanted to charge him with first-degree murder. Then there's a TikToker who did a video, and I haven't been able to confirm a lot of it, and you know I'm fact-based because I'm a lawyer and I like to stick with the facts. She said in her TikTok that this sheriff put him in the back of the car and then took him out of the car. And then when he put him back in the car, there was a glass pipe in the car next to him. And you know how that goes. I fell into the rabbit hole. There's another creator on YouTube who has done a deep dive into the lore of Lonoke County, the corruption, the drug scandals, going all the way back to the 80s. Like with Bill Clinton, when he like going all the way back. There's a Facebook page. There's a judge who issued this protective order within, I don't know, 60 days of Erin Spencer's arrest. Mainstream media was covering it a little bit, and then they just stopped. Aaron Spencer and his team had to go all the way to the Supreme Court of Arkansas to have this ridiculous gag order overturned. And now the gag order's finally been overturned. Michael Fosler is looking at potentially life in prison because of the second-degree murder charge with the firearm enhancement. It's crazy. It's insane. And apparently the county is corrupt, and this has been going on forever. And if you live there, you might know. Where do we start? Let's see. Let's start with some of the original news articles that came out. Actually, let's start it with the press release from the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office, shall we? See how they spun it. And this is from October 8th, 2024. He's a hero on so many levels. Yep. Here's a press release that the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office issued on October 8th, 2024. At approximately 1:12 a.m., Lonoke County Sheriff's Office deputies were dispatched to a residence on Highway 236 East in reference to a missing juvenile. While en route, deputies were notified that the father, Aaron Spencer, had located the juvenile in a vehicle with Michael Fosler. A confrontation between the two adult males ensued, which resulted in a shooting. Deputies immediately initiated an investigation. Michael Fosler was pronounced dead at the scene, and Aaron Spencer was taken into custody. Spencer was transported to the Lonoke County Detention Center and has been charged with murder in the first degree, a Class Y felony. This is still an open investigation. We remind the public that all parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. In a court of law. The TikToker also said in her video, and I can't confirm this yet, but it seems like this guy Fosler may have been law enforcement in Indiana before he moved to Arkansas. This case gives me the heebie-jeebies, even more so than the Annabelle rabbit hole that I fell into. Did you guys hear about Annabelle? We'll have to talk about that later. Maybe Lady Zelda can get involved in that because that case is wild. A lot of new members this morning. Welcome. I'll welcome you in a moment. So that's the press release from the sheriff. Then I also think he did a video as well. Let's go to USA Today because originally mainstream media was covering this and they just kind of stopped after the gag order and they haven't picked back up. This is from October 11th of 2024 and this is from USA Today. I'm so glad I'm taking this case up too. I'm so glad that you guys are here because you guys, we freed Karen Reed. We freed Karen Reed. And you can do it. If anybody can do this, you guys can do it. There needs to be more eyes on this case and let's keep this momentum going. And let's use our energy to try and fix someone else. Yes, Annabelle the possessed doll was on tour. Okay, with her handler, guy named Rivera. And it's a wild story, but he just dropped dead, the handler. And he was sleeping in the hotel room with Annabelle the doll. Yes, it's crazy. It is crazy. It is insane. Lady Zelda, if you're here, dive into Annabelle because it's insane. It's a Raggedy Ann doll that was possessed. The Conjuring movies were made about the doll Annabelle, and her handler just dropped out of a heart attack in Gettysburg. Yeah, and the second they pulled into Pennsylvania, the entire 911 system in Pennsylvania went down. While they were in New Orleans, hi, Lady Zelda Kelly is here. Did you even hear of this before I told you? The entire Conjuring movie series was made about this doll. And the warrant, it's crazy. It's crazy. But let's do Aaron Spencer first, and then there's a 12:30 hearing on Koberger. I don't know if you guys want to switch over to that. I'm not even sure what it's about, but I fell into the Annabelle rabbit hole yesterday. All right, let's go back to Aaron Spencer because he really, really, really needs our help, and time is of the essence here. Arkansas dad shoots and kills man found with his missing 14-year-old daughter, authorities say. I think she was 13 at the time that he first assaulted her. Not the father, Michael Fosler. This is dated 10/11/24. A Central Arkansas father has been charged with first-degree murder after finding his missing underage daughter in the car with a man, then shooting and killing the man. The shooting happened in Lonoke County, about 75 miles of northeast of Hot Springs. Someone called the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office around 1:12 Tuesday morning about a missing juvenile. The sheriff's office said in a news release on Facebook. The girl is 14 years old and the man who was shot is in his 60s. Lonoke County Sheriff John Staley confirmed to USA Today Friday afternoon. While deputies were on their way to the home, someone called to let them know that a father had found his daughter with a man named Michael Fosler, authorities said. The two had a, quote, confrontation, and Fosler was shot and later pronounced dead at the scene. The father was taken into custody and taken to the Lonoke County Detention Center. According to online jail records, the 36-year-old was released at 1:12 p.m. on Wednesday. He is facing a, quote, preliminary charge of first-degree murder, a Class Y felony, the sheriff's office said. Class Y felonies normally carry a sentence of at least 10 years and no more than 40 years or life in prison, according to the legal website Justia. But I think with the firearm enhancement, I think it's life. Sheriff Staley said in a video posted on Facebook that the investigation is ongoing, so authorities are only releasing limited details. The prosecutor will determine what charges will be filed, and no official charges have been filed yet, Staley said. I have not, nor will I, advocate for any specific charge. Oops, well, we'll go to the video after. Just lost my place. I have not, nor will I advocate for any specific charge, Staley said. This is a tragic situation, and my thoughts and prayers are with all those involved. A woman identifying herself as the girl's mother shared a series of updates on Facebook after the incident. She confirmed that the family was able to post bail and get her husband out of jail, but they started a fundraiser to retain a lawyer. We are private people, so all of this being public has been very difficult, the woman shared on Facebook Wednesday afternoon. In her post, she said the family had a no contact order in place for Fosler due to stalking. The man who was shot, Fosler, had been arrested by another agency in July and booked for internet stalking of a child and sexual assault, Sheriff Staley told USA Today Friday afternoon. This guy that preyed upon their daughter was released on bond, and we had stopped him that night and got him with her, he said. That bond would have been revoked. He would never have gotten out of jail. None of the bond companies would have let him out. We wouldn't let him out. She said her family thought Fosler had taken their daughter to kill her. Her daughter is a victim and her family has a long road to recovery ahead of them, she said. We absolutely called 911 during the entire event, she wrote. We had no idea this man was in contact with our child again. He was waiting 6 to 9 felonies for what he did, not 2. He was looking at the rest of his pathetic life in jail, and our daughter was the only witness. Some things we will never know, but we know that the police department afforded this predator privacy they did not give our family, she wrote. I am deeply offended by the way this was handled by the county sheriff's office. Sheriff Staley told USA Today Friday afternoon that he knows the girl's mother is hurt and scared. I absolutely do not support predators, he said. I'm a daddy. I have 3 daughters. I know she's hurt right now, but there's absolutely nobody I would put ahead of our children, their children, my children. He said his investigators are trying to figure out what happened that day leading to the man's death. When we get on scene and there's a homicide, it means one person took the life of another, Staley said. It's either justified or not justified. That's what the fact finding, that's what the investigation is going to find out. The murder charge against the shooter and the girl's father is a preliminary charge, but it's not official, Staley said. The girl's mother also claimed that GoFundMe, the platform they were using to collect money for legal purposes, was returning funds to donors and eventually said the fundraiser had been closed altogether. Instead, she's collecting money on Venmo and Cash App. We know that from other cases that GoFundMe does not allow legal fundraisers for defendants. A GoFundMe spokesperson told USA Today Friday afternoon that GoFundMe's terms of service prohibit fundraisers that raise money for the legal defense of anyone formally charged with an alleged violent crime. Consistent with this longstanding policy, the fundraiser has been removed from our platform and donations have been refunded, the fundraising platform said in its statement. On Thursday morning, the woman thanked community members. She also thanked the other victims who reached out to her with claims that the same man attacked them. I was going to say the same thing. Just because these are the first charges against this guy doesn't mean that there are not other victims, because statistics show, and I know this from my work with fighting against in civil court cases against predators like this, they don't get caught until they've offended 100 times. That's the statistic. It's real. So that's interesting to me that people reached out to the mom that were other victims of this guy. He was 67 years old. We've gotten a clear picture of a predator who continuously worked with children and preyed on young girls, the woman wrote. This man was chief of police in Indiana. Okay, there it is. And a resource officer, which is usually a school resource officer, giving us a better idea of why the Lonoke County courts have been protecting him and going after my husband. She said the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office's actions are proof that the sheriff supports predators and that he will prosecute those who are trying to protect their family. Either that or, cops protect other cops. We've seen that before. She said the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office's actions are proof. I just read that sentence. My husband is a hero and we are thankful to have him home with us for now, the woman wrote Thursday morning. We want to do everything possible to ensure he can continue to be here to protect us. In a final post on Friday morning, the mother of the 14-year-old girl in this most recent incident shared that she's overwhelmed by the support community members have shown their family. Her family plans to open a bank account to raise funds as well. Donations are wonderful and needed, but despite the legal fight, this has been the most dramatic event of our family's life, all of us. So please just keep us in your prayers and add us to your prayer chains, the woman wrote. A lawsuit was filed in August in federal court accusing Sheriff Staley and his former jail administrator, Deputy William Shipp, of ignoring female inmates who alleged sexual abuse by jail staff, according to the Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette. Well, that's interesting. These charges, or this incident, happened in June. Fosler's arrested in July, and then in August, there's a federal lawsuit filed against this exact sheriff of Lonoke County and his former jail administrator, William Shipp. I'm going to have to pull those papers. I'm going to have to pull the federal papers because we got a lot of papers to read. Not today, but this is a deep dive. It's going to take us a little while. although not a lot of filings, surprisingly, in the case of Aaron Spencer. The complaint described the jail as a place where young women are seen, selected, and sampled for the ultimate pleasure of the kings. End quote. And argued that Staley and Shipp did not properly oversee the jail. Staley previously told the newspaper he had not been served with a complaint, but said he addressed the incidents when he found out about them back in 2023. I'm not familiar with the lawsuit, but I am familiar with the situation with the employees, Staley told the Northwest Arkansas Democrat Gazette. The allegations were investigated as soon as they were brought to our attention, and they were held accountable. 3 were terminated, and 2 were charged and prosecuted. Oh, Kara, are you the one who tagged me on TikTok? Thank you, Kara. And then I played that TikTok video the other day. Thank you. Thank you for bringing this to my attention. So that was, and I don't go on TikTok that much, so I'm not sure when you tagged me, but as soon as you tagged me, as soon as I saw that you tagged me, I covered it that day. It's in the same show with the James Craig. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. See, you guys are out there and you guys are ready, and we got to keep this momentum going, because if anybody can do this, you guys can. I'm sure this is not going to be televised. The sheriff stressed that he doesn't have authority. Some people think he does. I don't file charges, he added. He said, adding that the prosecuting attorney handles that. We're in consultation with the prosecuting attorney about what to do in this preliminary stage. All my deputies and investigators knew at the time is there's a deceased man, a 14-year-old that was in the truck with him, and a dad saying, hey, I stopped him for this. Sheriff Staley said investigators were interviewing people Friday and have been all week to get the facts. We're going to get this wrapped up as expeditiously as we can, get the file faxed and over to the prosecutor so he can make an informed decision, Staley said. And then here are some great phone numbers. Those who need to report child abuse can contact the Wade Knox Child Advocacy Center at 501-676-2552 or the Child Abuse Hotline within the Arkansas Department of Human Services at 1-800-482-5964. Mandated reporters can also submit tips through a secure online portal. There's the link for that. Nationally, those with concerns about child abuse can call or text the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 800-422-4453. It says this story has been updated with new information. And again, this goes back to October of 2024. Oops. This is how upset I am about this case. I have a stress ball here. It's probably going to explode. I don't know what's inside of it, all over my hands, and it's going to be disgusting and sticky, but this is vile to me. And the fact that this guy was let out on a $5,000 cash bond, this is insane. Let's take a look at the video so you can get a better look at the sheriff involved here, who apparently turned a blind eye to sexual abuse happening in his own prison or jail with, the as such female prisoners. Here's his video statement that he put up on Facebook related to the October 8th, 2024 shooting incident. It's what I call he had it coming, number one, because that's one of my favorite songs, Cell Block Tango, from the musical Chicago. And also, there's Dexter up in the corner there because some people need killing. I don't know. That's my opinion. Here's Sheriff Staley's video message. I think Lonoke County has something like only population 4,000. Oh, Sandy B says sheriffs are elected in Arkansas with a term of 4 years. This is what I call an honor killing. I know there's that honor killing trial going on. This is an honor killing. in my opinion. Actually, I don't really know the definition of honor killing, but it sounds like this should be an honor killing. Here we go. Here's the sheriff.
I'm your Lonoke County Sheriff, John Staley. In the early hours of Tuesday, October 8th, Lonoke County deputies responded to a report of a missing juvenile. While en route, got a call of a shooting. After consultation with the prosecuting attorney, an arrest was made with a preliminary charge of first-degree murder. Arkansas state law provides guidance on when and how charges are filed in criminal cases. As this is an ongoing investigation, only limited details can be released. As your sheriff, it is our duty to conduct a thorough and factual investigation. Law enforcement does not file charges. We gather evidence and submit a case to the prosecutor, who will then decide whether or not to file charges. Currently, official charges have not been filed. I have not, nor will I, advocate for any specific charge. This is a tragic situation, and my thoughts and prayers are with all those involved. We will continue our investigation and submit the findings to the prosecutor for review.
Somebody just corrected me and said the population is 75,000. I might have actually conflated my numbers here. Happy Camper says, I live in Arkansas and I'm afraid to post the truth about corruption in my state, particularly that county and others nearby. Kelly Carney says, there's a city Lonoke and a county Lonoke. Lonoke County is quite large. Thank you. Okay, so the county is about 75,000. And is the town of Lonoke about, or the city, like only 4,000? I don't know. I read it somewhere. It is. It's like a hostage video, right? All right, let's take a look at the charges of Fosler. Fosler's charges. State of Arkansas versus Michael Fosler. So remember I told you that the incident happened in June. I don't know why the filing date is in September 4th of 2024 in Lonoke Circuit Court. This is a felony case, and the case was closed because he died. Here are the offenses that he was charged with. There's 43 of them. Internet stalking of a child on June 1st, 2024. Most of them are on June 1st. Some of them are on June 2nd, or one is on June 2nd. Second charge of internet stalking of a child. Sexual assault in the 4th degree. These are all June 1st charges. Sexual assault in the 4th degree. Sexual indecency with a child. Number 5. Number 6, sexual indecency with a child. Computer child P. We can't say that word because they think we're promoting it on this channel if we say it. Pandering or possessing medium depict sexual conduct of a child. Pandering or possessing medium depicting. There's a lot of these pandering charges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now I'm going to have to look up that statute. $527,304. Hang on. We'll check that right after we go through these charges. And then you can see here, dismissed, defendant deceased on 10/24/24. More pandering or possessing. pandering or possessing, child P. A lot of charges there. Guess they found a lot of stuff on his computers or his phone depicting sexual conduct of a child. Great. Fantastic. Just let him out. No big whoop. $43 charges. And you can see here in September 4th, all of these documents were sealed. So nobody could get a look at the charges. Criminal information sheet, like the probable cause type affidavits, all this stuff in this guy's file was sealed. So nobody can know what they found out, what they knew. They don't want the public to know in Arkansas. There it is. There was an order to seal the affidavit on September 4th of 2024. This is before his death, by the way. Motion for discovery was filed. Pled not guilty on September 5th, 2024. There's a motion to suppress. Case was closed. And then there's a motion to seal his death certificate. That was granted, of course. But he was coming up for trial in December. Do you think the daughter might have made it home? I don't. I don't think she would have made it home. She was the only witness against him, and his trial was coming up in less than 2 months. Here's the pandering statute. In Arkansas. Pandering or possessing visual or print medium depicting explicit conduct involving a child. This is Arkansas statute 527-304, pandering or possessing visual or print medium depicting explicit conduct involving a child. And here's what they need to prove. A, with knowledge of the character of the visual or print medium involved, no persons shall do any of the following. 1, knowingly advertise for sale or distribution, sell, distribute, transport, ship, exhibit, display, or receive for the purpose of sale or distribution any visual or print medium depicting a child participating or engaging in explicit conduct. Or 2, knowingly solicit, receive, purchase, exchange, possess, view, distribute, or control any visual or print medium depicting a child participating or engaging in explicit conduct. These are felonies. So something like 40 of his charges were for pandering, and there were 2 for the rape. And this is revolting on every level. Welcome to new members. Connie, Whittle, Violet became a new member. Danny became a new member. Kelly Ray has been here for 2 months and says, happy to have found your channel. Oh, thank you. I'm so happy you found my channel too. Good morning, tons of fun 911. You're welcome. Laura, you fixed it. I did fix it. Thank you for that. If anybody finds that they're blocked on my channel, do not Instagram message me because those messages get like lost in a black hole. Email me at in the show notes below. YouTube has been really wonky lately and it's been blocking people for no apparent reason. I need the link to your channel, not just your username, the link to your channel. Because the block list doesn't show it up. It's weird, but thank you, Laura. I'm glad you're back. Jojo says, so the law could not law and just let a monster take a nap in jail and then off he goes. Father tried to protect his child from him. I agree with you 100%. Justified, in my opinion. Thank you, Sue, for being with me for 9 months. And eBay Warhol says, I think the BK hearing is about not lifting the suppression order by the defense. Okay. Is it going to be interesting? Thank you, eBay Warhol, Tracy Fagan. Sarah B. Creative, Chris Christopherson, Jesus was a Capricorn. Prayers for him. Thank you, Sarah. Kraken Studio became a member. Welcome. And gifted 5 memberships. Thank you. And to those of you who were randomly gifted on YouTube by the YouTube gods, welcome. It has nothing to do with me. They pick people randomly, but thank you so much. And Virginia became a member. And Adrian says, hi, Ms. Mel, police chiefs in Louisiana, federal charges for immigration fraud yesterday. Okay, thank you. FBI ice cream truck, a member for 6 months. This should have been referred to the feds. Shaking my head. Choja, Melanie, why the FBI are not involved if there was electronic findings? I don't know. I don't know. Because he wound up dead and it didn't get very far, maybe. A lot of times the local law enforcement does not want the FBI involved in their business. We saw that in Suffolk County, New York, during the original investigation for the Long Island serial killer in 2010. They kept the FBI out because James Burke, the chief of police of Suffolk County, and the district attorney, Tom Spoda, were up to their own shenanigans, and they didn't want the FBI involved. I'm a Washingtonian. Washington World says, this father is an American superhero. My husband would have done the same thing. Thank you for sharing this horrible story. Prayers for this young girl and her family. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Lynn Britton says, 11 months of sub, been here since the Costner divorce. That was my first video ever. Thanks, Lynn. You're an OG. Well, Misfit says, the judge in the honor killing in Washington won't allow any testimony about arranged marriages or culture of honor. I'm scared for that girl. Yeah, I haven't been following that one. Thank you. Thanks for your 10. Yeah, somebody says Marcy Cruz says Indiana kicked the FBI out of Delphi too. Says Marcy Cruz. Mike and M says he had a protection order. So he had broken into the home. A 14-year-old cannot legally choose. I think she was 13 at the time. Choose to say yes to him. So it's kidnapping. How is this not justified? Blows my mind. Lisa Amore pointing it out, saying the quiet part out loud. I just saw it fly by, but now I don't see it on this end. Too many predators in law enforcement, in my opinion. Didn't the police chief in Gilgo case script the investigation? Yep, that's exactly what I was talking about, James Burke. Exactly what I was talking about. Let's take a look at the family. There's a Facebook page. For those of you who choose to play on Facebook, you can join this Facebook page. It's called We Support Aaron Spencer. And there are some posts from who I believe is his wife and the mom of the girl. It's called We Support Aaron Spencer. There's 17,000 followers. Well, that's more than I saw the other day. So you guys must have caught on to this. Hang on. This is a post from December 9th of 2024. Aaron Spencer, a father from Central Arkansas, has been charged with second-degree murder after finding his missing underage daughter in a car with a 67-year-old man, Michael Fosler. A, quote, confrontation followed, during which Fosler was shot and later pronounced dead at the scene. Fosler had previously been arrested in July by another agency on charges of internet stalking of a child and sexual assault involving Spencer's daughter. He was out on bail at the time of the incident. This case has become a symbol of both the failures of the justice system and the lengths a parent might go to save their child. Oh, look, somebody posted my video. That's awesome. Thank you to whoever did that. And there is a post from Heather Spencer, who I believe is his wife and the mom. And she says, yeah, well, it is because it's our daughter. This was from July 11th. Our daughter was only 14 when a stranger stole her childhood, taken in the night, rescued by her father, and now she waits to heal while he waits to be tried. We didn't know the man who took her. He was a former law enforcement officer with a long history of predatory behavior, one we never had the chance to see before it was too late. He groomed her online, manipulated her, and took her from her home while we were sleeping. By God's grace, her father found her and brought her home. He saved her life that night. And now the predator is gone, but her daddy is the one on trial. And our daughter can't begin to heal while the man who protected her faces prison. She's a child. She's been through enough. She needs peace, not more trauma. She needs her father, not courtrooms. We are sharing her story because she deserves to heal, because silence protects predators, because no parent should be punished for protecting their child when the system failed. Please help us to share this story for her healing, for her future, for justice. She's already lost so much. She doesn't deserve the threat of losing her daddy, too. Please continue to pray for our family while we face the unthinkable. And they're using the hashtag justice for Aaron. Heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. People say no jury will find him guilty. No way. But should he have to incur all of these expenses? They had to go to the Arkansas Supreme Court. Let me show you that. Hang on. Here's another post from the mom that I wanted to read to you from July 3rd. Because now she's been ungagged after going all the way to the Arkansas Supreme Court. Like, what were they gagging people about? Everyone should know about this case. I'm going to keep screaming about it until he's acquitted and or the charges are dropped. This is from Heather Spencer, July 3rd. I know people are probably sick of seeing this story, but this is a nightmare, is our whole life. And it could happen. If it could happen to us, it could happen to anyone. Imagine a predator harming your child. You're told again and again that justice will be served, that the system will protect your family, that the man who committed unspeakable acts against your child will be held fully accountable under the law. And you believe them because that's what they swore to do. You know this predator once served in the military. You know that he used to wear a badge. But you're assured that none of that will shield him from the consequences of his 30+ felonies against your child. You're told this case is serious, that this time it's different. But what you didn't know is that this predator has powerful friends in elected positions. So instead of accountability, he walks free, released on a low bond with a no contact order and a slap on the wrist, free to continue his reign of terror, free to haunt the same community he shattered, including your own family. Then imagine, after everything you've endured, waking up in the middle of the night to find your child missing. You call 911 as any parent would, but you don't sit and wait. You go searching, desperate, because you're a parent. By some miracle, you find her. But what you're forced to do is save your child's, what you're forced to do to save your child's life is unthinkable. And instead of being protected or supported, you are treated like a criminal. Yes, he did. He did kill him. Your name is dragged through the mud. You're silenced for speaking out, punished not just for defending your child, but for daring to expose the incompetence, corruption, and backroom favors that dominate the justice system in Lonoke County. The truth is, the system didn't fail us. It protected the predator, because in this place, old friendships and unchecked egos mattered more than the victims, more than truth, more than justice. They will try again to silence us, not to protect the integrity of any trial, but to protect themselves, to keep their power, to keep their secrets hidden. But I will keep speaking until they take my voice. Please share our story, speak the truth, pray for our family, and most of all, pray for justice in a community that desperately needs it. No family should have to live the nightmare we're still trying to survive. I almost didn't even make it through that without breaking down into tears. And there's a Give, Send, Go that has been posted by Erin's wife. And it's only raised $13,000. I wasn't going to post it until I knew whether it was legit, but I'm going to post it because now I find it is legit, because it was posted by the mom. We need to free Erin Spencer, you guys. We need to free Erin Spencer. This is horrific. This is every parent's nightmare. I don't know how that came up as two separate things that I posted, but hopefully that link will get you there. I'll also post it in the show notes below. Here's the Give, Send, Go. It's raised $13,638. It says supporting the Spencer family. I am making this campaign for my sister and brother-in-law, Heather and Erin Spencer, and their children as they navigate their lives after the devastating trauma they've been through. This is for their personal use, such as therapy measures and keeping their family afloat amid Erin's daunting legal proceedings. So this is not for defense costs. This is to help the family. Beginning in spring of 2024, my then 13-year-old niece was targeted by a predator, groomed and assaulted multiple times. The Spencers were silently suffering through the slow process of justice as this monster was put in jail. Then immediately released on a low bond with zero supervision and a no contact order. He was awaiting arraignment for the multiple felonies he committed against my niece, and she was expected to testify. In the early morning hours of October 8th, my sister and brother were awakened in the night to every parent's worst nightmare, a missing child. They immediately contacted authorities, and then Erin did what any good parent would do. He got in his truck and went out looking. By some miracle, my brother-in-law passed the predator with his underage child on the road. A chase ensued. Like what? That was some sort of divine intervention, because this could have ended in such a different way. If you're familiar with our family story, you know what happened next. In protection of himself and his daughter, the night she was kidnapped, Erin shot and killed the predator and was subsequently arrested and is now awaiting trial for second-degree murder, although he was clearly within his rights to protect his family. Unfortunately, that wasn't the end of this nightmare for the Spencers. There was immediate outrage and media coverage, but as soon as Erin was officially charged with murder too, the same judge who released their child's predator back onto the streets to ultimately reoffend also signed off on a vague gag order, limiting media and state officials from commenting on their story. When the state placed a vague and unlawful gag order, it had a twofold effect. First, Erin incurred more legal expenses to fight this unjust order at the Arkansas Supreme Court. Second, we lost national coverage as the gag order sealed the case and prevented further reporting on it. Now that the Supreme Court has vacated the order, we can speak freely again about the horrors of our family has had to endure in the past year. First by their child's predator, and now by the people that have sworn to protect and serve the interests of the community. My purpose of opening this campaign is to help the Spencer family feel secure in some way during a very challenging, uncertain time. From the original assaults to the night of the kidnapping, and now dealing with mistrust in the local justice system that didn't protect their daughter while persecuting her father, a combat veteran who was forced to. The Spencers have a lot of trauma to work through. They've been spending hundreds of dollars a week on different therapies for their daughter and themselves, all suffering with severe PTSD from the events that have transpired. These therapies have been helpful, but they have a long road to healing ahead of them, and I would like to take as much financial burden off of them as possible. They've been so humbled by the donations they've received for Erin's legal defense, but we were not anticipating how much it would all end up being, especially after needing to fight against the gag order on top of a criminal defense. Please consider donating to their livelihoods, as their journey to healing will go beyond Erin's verdict. And please, above all else, keep them in your prayers. Pray for justice, pray for peace, and for healing. Thank you. This is affecting me deeply. So there's that. Just want to put this in the show notes while I'm thinking of it, because I'll forget later. Let's go to the chat. A Sunflower Day has been here for 13 months. Love your passion. Been here since Costner divorce. Oh my gosh, that was my first videos. Thank you. K Kentucky, why is it so hard to get justice for our children? Wants to know. That's a great question. That's a great question. Patriot Biker has been here for 2 months. Bless this father for saving his daughter's life. Yeah. Yep. That's the way I'm looking at it. But the cost that they've had to ensue going through all of this. Let's take a look at the original gag order. When he was arrested on October 9th, I believe. Hold on one second. Oh, and by the way, also my Massachusetts friends, did you see that Kelsey Fitzsimmons was suspended from the North Andover Police Department? Yeah. Another one. Truckers Against Tie Clips is here. Hey, buddy. Says, not enough outrage here, I think, or something as such like that. I just saw it fly by. Outraged just doesn't have enough syllables, he says. I knew this would outrage you. And we need to keep our outrage going because we need to use this channel to make some changes. I have a platform now. Let's use it. Yeah, that's pretty quiet too, right? That Kelsey Fitzsimmons was suspended. Nobody's covering that. I was going to cover that yesterday, and then I don't even know if the media I mean, I saw it in one place, obviously. So that's Tim Bradle's newest client. Here's the order that came down December 10th of 2024. In the Circuit Court of Lonoke County, Arkansas, First Division, State of Arkansas versus Erin Spencer. Get my highlighter out. Oh, sometimes you can highlight these PDFs. Okay. In view of the apparent public interest in this case and the extensive news media coverage as a result of such interest, and because it appears to the court that the dissemination by any means of public communication of any out-of-court statements relating to this case may interfere with the rights of the defendant and the state of Arkansas to receive a fair and impartial trial, and further to seek a fair balance between the constitutional guarantee of a free press, the following order is hereby entered. Can't have my highlighter. This girl's got to have her red pen, as you know. It is the order of this court that no party to this action, nor any attorney or agency connected with this case, directly or indirectly, nor any judicial employee or officer of this court, nor any public official now holding office, including but not limited to law enforcement officials, nor any agent, deputy, or employee of any such persons, nor any person subpoenaed to testify at the trial of this case. And then the judge handwrites in there, neither shall the defendant nor his family shall do any of the following. So it's not only the attorneys, the sheriff's agency, the department, any employee of the court, any public official, but the defendant or his family is not allowed to talk either. I don't know where it says media in here, so I don't know why the media dropped it like a hot potato, but let's read on. Neither shall the defendant nor his family shall do any of the following. And then the judge initialed it. Shall release or authorize the release for public dissemination of any purported extrajudicial statement of the defendant relating to this case, so nothing the defendant says. 2, release or authorize the release of any documents or exhibits or any evidence, the admissibility of which may have to be determined by the court. Oh, so we're not allowed to talk about the public court filings, Your Honor? Hey, Judge Gull, this one says, hold my White Claw or whiskey or whatever they drink in Arkansas. 3, make any statement for public dissemination as to the existence or possible existence of any document, exhibit, or any other evidence. 4, express outside of the court an opinion or make any comment for public dissemination as to the weight, value, or effect of any evidence as tending to establish the guilt or innocence of the defendant. 5, make any statement outside a court for public dissemination as to the weight, value, or effect of any testimony that has been given. Did they do criminal depositions in Arkansas? Inquiring minds. 6, issue any statement for public dissemination as to the identity of any prospective witnesses or their probable testimony or the effect thereof. 7, make any out-of-court statement for public dissemination as to the weight, value, source, or effect of purported evidence alleged to have been accumulated as a result of the investigation of this matter. 8, make any statement for public dissemination as to the content, nature, substance, or effect of any testimony which may be given at any proceeding related to this matter with any attorney of record or any agent thereof. This order does not include, number 1, factual statements of the defendant's name, age, residence, occupation, or family status. 2, the circumstances of the arrest, namely the time and place of the arrest, the identity of the arresting and investigating officers and agencies, and length of the investigation. 3, the nature, substance, and text of the charges, including a brief description of the offenses charged. 4, quotations from or any reference without comment to public records of the court in this case, or to other public records or communications herefore disseminated to the public. Wow, this is wild. This is a little overly broad, huh? 5, the scheduling and result of any stage of the judicial proceeding held in open court or in an open public session. I'm sorry, so people couldn't go to court hearings and report on what happened. 6, any request for assistance in obtaining evidence. Oh, like the family's not allowed to get out there and say, if there are any other victims of Michael Fosler, please come forward. 6, discussion by any witness or prospective witness of any matter in connection with the case with any of the attorneys representing the defendant or the state. And then she handwrites in there, all parties and the defendant is under a gag order, BE. Those are her initials. A copy of this order shall be attached to any subpoena served on any witness in this matter, and the return of service of the subpoena shall include the fact of service of a copy of this order. In addition, any information violating this order shall be redacted from any paperwork relating to the case that might be disseminated to the public. This order shall be enforced until the case has been disposed of or until this court orders otherwise. And then Barbara Elmore, the judge, handwrites, this order will help ensure all parties get a fair trial, and initials it. The entire case is now sealed. XOXO, Judge Barbara Elmore. This order was dated 12/10/24. 12/10/24. I don't see where it says the media can't cover it. So what had happened was they took it to the Arkansas Supreme Court. Under a petition for the writ of certiorari, petition for a writ of certiorari. Let me just and so the opinion was delivered by the Supreme Court on May 29th of 2025, so not that long ago. And it was overturned, oops, by the Arkansas Supreme Court. So I'll take a quick look at this. So now the family is allowed to talk again, which is why Heather Spencer is getting out there talking about this. And which is why we need more eyes on this, because this is coming up soon. And if anybody knows Heather Spencer, and I don't know if she wants to come on. I don't know if she should come on the show, but if she wants to reach out to me, I would be happy to speak to her to see how we can help support the family, because this is disgusting. It's a 25-page order from the Arkansas Supreme Court. We're not going to read the whole thing, but I want to read some of it just to get some of the facts here. Do you know how expensive it is to file briefs to the Supreme Court? Printing costs alone are tens of thousands of dollars. It's repulsive. Okay. Oh, is Defense Diaries covering it too? That's so funny, because when I was watching their show the other day, somebody put in the chat that I was covering this Erin Spencer case, and then Bob was like, he didn't know about it. So good. I'm glad they're on it. I'm glad it needs as many eyes as it can get. That's great. I'm sure he's pretty pissed off being the father of at least 2 daughters. This is the opinion delivered on May 29th of 2025. It says petition for writ of certiorari granted, writ issued, circuit court's gag order was vacated. And this was drafted by Courtney Ray Hudson, an associate justice. Aaron Spencer has filed a petition for writ of certiorari requesting that a gag order entered in his Lonoke County Circuit Court criminal case be vacated. He argues that entry of the gag order was a plain, manifest, clear, and gross abuse of discretion, and that there is no other adequate remedy but for the writ. We agree, and we grant the petition for writ of certiorari and vacate the Circuit Court's gag order. Here's the background. On November 27th, 2024. Wow. So he wasn't charged until November 27th, and the gag order came out on December 10th. 30 days. 13 days, within 2 weeks. What are they hiding? Tinfoil Hat Society says, if anything like that happened to my child, I would be in prison. Barbara Hall says that's what real parents do for their loved ones. Oh, Tara Christine says, I'm on the Give, Send, Go, and it's really heartwarming to see Cupcakes being so generous. I know you guys are. Forget about my super chats. If you're going to super chat me, send the money to the family. They need it. On November 27, 2024, Spencer was charged by felony information with second-degree murder, along with a firearm enhancement under Arkansas Code Annotated Section 1690-120 for the shooting death of 67-year-old Michael Fosler. The state alleged that on October 8th of 2024, Spencer knowingly caused Fosler's death under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life. Oh, kind of like Fosler's indifference to the value of the human life of his 13-year-old daughter? Okay. A Class A felony under Arkansas Code, annotated 510-103. The circumstances of the shooting were as follows. In July of 2024, Fosler had been charged with numerous sexual offenses against Spencer's teenage daughter and was released on bond. Yeah, 43 of them. Which makes me wonder, did he videotape the act on his phone? Did he take pictures? Because how many of those charges were pandering? Almost 40? On the night of the shooting, Spencer awoke to his dog barking and realized that his daughter was gone. Spencer found a hoodie on a stuffed animal placed in her bed. As a result, he left it in his truck to search for her. Spencer located Fosler's truck with his daughter inside, and he forced Fosler's truck off the highway. Oh, the guy may have had a dash cam. I hope Fosler had a dash cam. I mean, not Fosler. I hope that Spencer had, I don't know. After an altercation, Spencer called 911 to report that he had shot Fosler. Fosler died at the scene. Remember, this is the Supreme Court of Arkansas's order. So these are assumed facts. There hasn't been a trial for Aaron Spencer yet, but it is coming up in September. So we don't have a lot of time. On December 4th of 2024, the state filed a motion for a gag order alleging that Spencer's arrest had garnered media coverage throughout the state and the nation. Attached to the motion was a press release from Spencer's attorneys, Erin Cassinelli and Michael Kaiser, criticizing the decision to charge Spencer criminally as, quote, targeting a heroic father. The state also pointed to a television interview in which defense counsel allegedly stated that they felt confident that the community would side with Spencer, quote, because every one of them would have done the same thing for their child or their neighbor's child or a member of their family. The state argued that a gag order was necessary to preserve the integrity of the jury pool and to ensure the right of a fair trial for both the state and the defendant. The state proposed 8 content-based limitations on the speech of any party, any attorney or agency connected with the case, directly or indirectly, any judicial employee or officer of the court, and any public official now holding office, including but not limited to law enforcement officials, their agents, deputies, or employees, and any person subpoenaed to testify in the trial of the case. On December 9th, 2024, Spencer filed a detailed response in opposition to the motion for gag order. He argued that granting the motion for a gag order would violate his due process rights to a fair and public trial pursuant to the 6th and 14th Amendments, as well as his First Amendment right to speak pursuant to both the Arkansas and the United States Constitutions. Spencer requested that a hearing on the state's motion be held in open court. Oh, there's 4,141 people in the chat right now. I got to go look up in my angel numbers book. 41. Okay. Remind me to do that. Everyone hit the like button. That reminds me. Talk amongst yourselves while I take a drink. Just, I have to mute the mic because there's this thing called misophonia that I am not aware of, that I wasn't aware of until I started a YouTube channel that can be debilitating for people who are listening to other people swallow or eat. It's like a real thing. All right, hold on. Okay. Aaron Spencer killed the man who, well, let's read on because you'll learn more. And if you're just tuning in, I'm going to update the show notes later because I didn't have time to do a full-on show note for you today. But suffice it to say, combat veteran hero dad had a 13-year-old daughter who was graped for YouTube purposes by a 67-year-old man. He was arrested. The man was arrested on 43 felonies and arrested on a $5,000 cash bond. And then a couple months later, he kidnaps the girl again. And the father finds them, luckily runs him off the road, rescues his daughter, shoots the guy dead. And now he's on trial for second-degree murder. And we need to help him. He needs to be freed because this is outrageous and revolting and all of the things. And I think he did what a lot of us would do, or a lot of you would do in this same exact situation. The Give Send Go link is I couldn't pin it to the chat, so it's in the show notes beneath the video. You can find it there if you feel so generous today. So Spencer requested that a hearing on the state's motion be held in open court. On December 10th of 2024, without holding a hearing, the circuit court entered the order at issue. Noting the, quote, apparent public interest in this case and the resulting extensive news media coverage, the court granted the state's motion with some modifications. As grounds for the entry of the order, the court stated, it appears to the court that the dissemination by any means of public communications by any means of public communication of any out-of-court statements relating to this case may interfere with the rights of the defendant and the state of Arkansas to receive a fair and impartial trial. The court further noted that it was seeking a fair balance between the constitutional guarantees of a free press. The order implemented the 8 prohibitions requested by the state, and we just read that order, so we don't need to read it again, but it is quoted here. And in a footnote, it says the order included several notations handwritten and initialed by the judge, including the addition of Spencer's family. And so they quote the order in the Supreme Court decision. And goes on to say, finally, the order provides that the entire case is now sealed. Thus, the circuit court adopted the requested prohibitions contained in the state's motion for a gag order with the qualifications listed in provisions 1 through 7 and the sua sponte sealing of the entire case. Sua sponte is when a judge just does something on her own without the other side even asking, or without any side even asking for it. Prosecution didn't ask for the entire case to be sealed. The judge just did that on her own. Footnote 2 says, we note that this order is nearly identical to the orders we vacated without written opinion in Arkansas Democrat Gazette, Inc. versus the state of Arkansas, in which a petition for the writ of certiorari was granted. Although the present order does not expressly apply to media outlets, the 8 prohibitions on speech and the 7 provisions for information not prohibited by the order use the same language as in the Arkansas Democrat Gazette gag orders, styled orders regarding publicity. Arkansas courts shall no longer use this apparent form order. So this is what I call a scratch and sniff. So this judge took an order from another case that went up on appeal to the Supreme Court and used the same exact order that was overturned at the Supreme Court level. Daughter is 13. She was 13 at the time. On February 2nd of 2025, Spencer filed in this court a petition for writ of certiorari and for other relief. The state filed a response on February 12th, and Spencer later filed a motion to stay the proceedings in the circuit court, take the petition as a case, and set a briefing schedule pursuant to Arkansas Supreme Court rule. So they wanted everything stayed in his criminal case while the Supreme Court decided on the gag order. And the Supreme Court of Arkansas, to their credit, said, okay, let's do it. Let's go. Here we go. They had oral argument, and now they're saying it's time for us to rule. Here's our decision. Well, here's the standard for issuing a writ. We don't need to see that. I want to talk about. Here's the analysis. Spencer argues that the gag order violates the First Amendment because it's an unjustified prior restriction on certain content-based categories of speech. He further argues that the circuit court exceeded its jurisdiction when it placed overbroad restrictions on the speech of non-parties without due process. So remember, we eventually saw a gag order in Karen Reed, right? But Karen Reed wasn't gagged. Her parents weren't gagged. Her family wasn't gagged. It was the attorneys who were not allowed to talk about it. The state responds that the circuit court's order was within constitutional limits, protects the integrity of the case, and ensures a fair trial for both Spencer and the state. For the reasons that follow, we hold that the circuit court's action in entering the challenge gag order was on its face a plain, manifest, clear, and gross abuse of discretion and in excess of its authority. Further, there is no adequate remedy except for a writ of certiorari, meaning we're going to overturn you. Judge Barbara Eldridge. Is that her name? Eldridge? Elmore. I'm sorry. It's Barbara Elmore. Elmore. This is my cursor on your screen. If you're watching your TV, please don't think it's a fly and then break your TV and then send me a bill. They talk about standing, freedom of speech. Let's get to freedom of speech. And they find that Spencer clearly has standing. That means the right to bring this proceeding. The First Amendment to the United States Constitution provides in part, Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech. The First Amendment is made applicable to the states by the 14th Amendment. Similarly, Article 2, Section 6 of the Arkansas Constitution provides, the free communication of thoughts and opinions is one of the invaluable rights of man, and all persons may freely write and publish their sentiments on all subjects. Spencer relies on both the U.S. Constitution and the Arkansas Constitution. Oh, Amanda Erickson says, oh, Barbara Elmore, LOL. Oh, the stories. Somebody says anti-Bab. All right, motion granted. Anti-Babs. Auntie Babs. Motion granted. Thanks, Jennifer. Auntie Babs has entered the chat. And Green-Eyed Southern Girl is from Arkansas and says, I need to hear what Melanie says about this. I can't believe I know this judge. Wow. Mitchell just swatted the cursor. Don't break your TV, dude, and send me a bill. Spencer argues the gag order in this case violates both his and others' free speech rights. However, free speech rights are not absolute, and in rare cases must yield to the Sixth Amendment's guarantee of a fair trial by an impartial jury. A gag order is defined as a judge's order directing parties, attorneys, witnesses, or journalists to refrain from publicly discussing the facts of a case. Thus, a gag order is, by definition, a prior restraint on speech. Prior restraints on speech and publication are the most serious and the least tolerable infringement on First Amendment rights. As such, a prior restraint on speech bears a heavy presumption against its constitutional validity. In fact, the Supreme Court has recognized that criticism of the state lie at the very center of the First Amendment. This could include speech of critical judges, prosecutors, public defenders, and law enforcement. It would be difficult to single out any aspect of government of higher concern and importance to the people than the manner in which criminal trials are conducted. The Supreme Court of the United States has only directly addressed the constitutionality of gag orders as they apply to the press, not as to attorneys, parties, witnesses, or the public. Nor has the Supreme Court articulated a legal standard for when, if at all, such prior restraints would be permissible. In Nebraska Press, the court ordered gag orders on the press. The court considered gag orders on the press and strongly disapproved of such prior restraints except in extraordinary circumstances. The court noted that pretrial publicity, even if pervasive and concentrated, cannot be regarded as leading automatically and in every kind of criminal case to an unfair trial. The court stated that it was required to determine whether, quote, the gravity of the evil discounted by its improbability justifies such invasion of free speech as is necessary to avoid the danger. To do so, the court examined the evidence before the trial judge when the order was entered to determine the nature and extent of pretrial news coverage, whether other measures would be likely to mitigate the effects of unrestrained pretrial publicity, how effectively a restraining order would operate to prevent the threatened danger, and whether the precise terms of the restraining order were too broad or too vague. Then they go on to discuss some more case law. I want to see. Here, the gag order was intended to address the need to protect the integrity of the jury pool to ensure that all parties get a fair trial in light of pretrial publicity. When considering pretrial publicity, a trial court has the difficult job of balancing constitutional interests while upholding its affirmative duty to protect the integrity of the criminal justice process. They go on to discuss some more case law. We now turn to the arguments regarding which standard should apply to a prior restraint on speech in the context of this case. To justify a prior restraint on free speech, there must first be a factual showing of necessity. In other words, this court must determine whether the circuit court's order is justified by a sufficient risk of material prejudice to an ongoing judicial proceeding. This court has explained, quote, the question becomes whether the justifications for the restraining order are of sufficient weight to eclipse the substantial weight of the interests protected by the First Amendment, which dictate the heavy presumption against the constitutional validity of prior restraints. What then is the necessary showing? Spencer argues that a gag order is permissible only under the highest level of scrutiny, that is, if there is a serious and imminent threat to the administration of criminal justice. In contrast, the state relies on Gentile and argues in favor of a heightened standard that is less rigorous than strict scrutiny. And they talk about other states and what they've done. Let's see what they do. When determining which standard to apply, we must initially recognize whose speech is being restricted. We can identify three categories of persons potentially subject to gag orders: attorneys of record, non-attorney trial participants, such as criminal defendants, witnesses, and court staff, and three, the public at large, i.e. those who are not participating in the trial. Footnote 3, we do not address gag orders on the press in this opinion because the order before us does not impose restrictions on the press, nor does any member of the press challenge it. So they go through all of their reasoning for 28 pages. And they talk about prior restraints on the public. We cannot fathom why the circuit court believed it could prohibit the speech of any public official now holding office. In fact, it is difficult to foresee any circumstance in which a prior restraint on the speech of a member of the public, which would include a public official, could be constitutional. So they go on. The Arkansas Supreme Court goes on to overturn Judge Barbara Elmore and vacate the gag order. And this just happened end of May 29th of 2025, when we were neck deep in the Karen Reed trial. And if you are interested in the law and their reasoning, I can link this opinion. If anyone is interested, let me know. The judge, the justice says here, oh, no, here's a concurring opinion. Nicholas Brawny says, public officials aren't immune from public criticism, judges and prosecutors included. Because the circuit court's gag order violates that principle, I join the majority's opinion granting the writ and vacating that order. But that sweeping order is only one part of a troubling pattern of attempts to shield this case from public view, beginning with a non-public arraignment and ending with a handwritten note sealing the entire case from public view. We cannot allow that pattern to continue unchecked. So I'd invoke this court's superintending authority and reassign this matter to a new circuit court judge. Anything less suggests that what's happened so far is within the acceptable range of disagreement or administration, and it isn't. Ooh, he's pissed. Begin with the gag order itself. On its face, that order targets a broad swath of people, barring them from expressing an opinion or making any comment about whether the evidence tends to establish the guilt or innocence of the defendant. Worse, the order itself was sealed, raising serious concerns about selective enforcement. And it doesn't explain why such an extreme remedy was warranted, instead just declaring it would help ensure all parties get a fair trial. Nor did the circuit court explain why it extended the gag order beyond what even the state thought was appropriate, broadening it to cover the defendant's family, and even more significantly, sealing the entire case. Can somebody tell me whether Arkansas judges are elected or appointed? I'm just curious. And only if you know, please don't guess. Please don't guess. There are two choices, elected or appointed. You have a 50-50 shot of getting it right. Please, only if you live. Thank you, Green Eyed Southern Girl says elected. She lives there. I'll take it. On the contrary, the circuit court entered that order just 6 minutes. 6 minutes after the clerk docketed the defendant's 19-page opposition to the state's motion, or barely enough time to make a pot of coffee, he says. Oh my God, I love this judge. Can we get him on the U.S. Supreme Court? That approach cannot be squared with the First Amendment, and it underscores that the gag order wasn't a last resort, but an unconstitutional impulse. Context suggests why. The same circuit court that issued the gag order here also granted Michael Fosler's release on bail. Oh, well, there you go. Saying the quiet parts out loud, Judge Barbara Elmore is the one who let Michael Fosler out on bail. It's that decision, which the defendant's lawyers called a decision to release a predator who repeatedly violated the defendant's child on a low bond, that sets off a chain of events that led to the fatal confrontation that is the subject of this case. And it's that criticism that the state claimed and the circuit court effectively concluded justified gagging the defendant, his lawyers, and others. This sequence raises serious concerns. Indeed, if openness enhances the appearance of fairness so essential to public confidence in the system, then secrecy has the opposite effect. It erodes trust. Citing a couple of U.S. Supreme Court cases. Oh, and this is interesting. And I don't know because I didn't look up this citation, but look at what he's also citing. Globe Newspaper Company versus the Superior Court for Norfolk County. A U.S. Supreme Court case from 1982. Is that Norfolk County, Massachusetts? I might have to go look that up later. This is Justice Bronny addressing Elmore, right? This is a concurring opinion. So this justice decided he wanted to write his own opinion and chime in here. Nicholas J. Bronny, Bronni. The effort to shield these proceedings from public view also didn't begin with the gag order. It started with the circuit court's decision to arraign the defendant away from public view. Oh, wow, really? That part I didn't know. See how much we're learning here? And even setting aside the potential constitutional concerns raised by a non-public arraignment, that decision highlights the order on review here isn't an isolated problem. Rather, it suggests a star chamber-like atmosphere. We cannot allow that to continue. Ultimately, judges and prosecutors enjoy no greater immunity from criticism than other persons or institutions. Nor should they. Public vigilance serves us well. For the knowledge that every criminal trial is subject to contemporaneous review in the forum of public opinion is an effective restraint on possible abuse of judicial power. Instead, justice should not only be done, but should manifestly and undoubtedly be seen to be done. So I joined the majority's decision granting the writ and vacating the gag order, but I would go a step further. The repeated attempts to veil these proceedings in secrecy can only breed ignorance and distrust of the courts and suspicion concerning the competence and impartiality of the entire criminal justice system. Remedying that danger warrants strong medicine, and I'd apply it. He says it should be transferred to another judge. We love this judge. Can we get him a promotion to the U.S. Supreme Court? Somebody said I skipped over some good parts. So let me just see if there's any good parts back here. Maybe those were the good parts you were talking about. It is in Massachusetts. Of course it is. But of course it is. Maybe those are the good parts that you're talking about. Send this judge to Massachusetts. Boop. Sarah Brown says the victim in this case, the quote victim, right? The dead guy, Fosler, was out on bail and the child was a witness in his upcoming trial. The only witness, by the way, which is why anyone would believe he kidnapped her with the intent to unalive her, making it legal self-defense. Yeah, but they upcharged him. I mean, he's charged with second-degree murder with the enhancement of a firearm, which could get him life. So that is why time is of the essence. The 1982 case was Norfolk County, Massachusetts, and the Boston Globe was against Massachusetts, Norfolk County in a case in SA trial, keeping the media out of the courtroom while minors are on the stand. I saw somebody just sent me the decision, so I will read that. Pamela Camel says, we are outraged. We're outraged. Green-eyed Southern girl is getting people boots on the ground. She's doing it. You guys did it for Karen Reed. You were out there with signs. Says, I'm really serious. We need a group to go. Amanda, you want to go? Amanda, you want to go? They don't want you to know about this case in Arkansas or anywhere. And here's the other thing too. When I went to look for information on this case, it's hard to find. There was not a huge amount of coverage on this. Let me show you what I found. Not much. And I don't know why the media stopped covering it. They were not gagged. They could still cover it. Here's a little bit of local coverage. I have brain fog. Did I play this for you already earlier? It's only 3 minutes. I don't think I did. 3 minutes. Let's play it. This is from KATV Channel 7, October 14th, 2024. I pulled it up, but I don't think I played it yet.
From the station that's on your side, this is Channel 7 News at 6.
Well, good evening to you. We begin our newscast in Lonoke County tonight with new information in the case of a father who allegedly killed a man he found with his missing 14-year-old daughter.
36-year-old Erin Spencer was arrested on a preliminary charge of first-degree murder in the death of 67-year-old Michael Fosler. The Lonoke County Sheriff says Fosler was out on bond at the time of the confrontation after being arrested over the summer for internet stalking of a child and sexual assault. Channel 7's Daniela DeHogany has the story.
Erin Spencer was acting as a father. There's no way that we're going to put the criminals ahead of our kids. Your kids, my kids, they're all our children.
An Arkansas father, Erin Spencer.
Oh, really? Because then you charged him with first-degree murder.
Has been charged with first-degree murder following a shooting incident involving Michael Fosler, a 67-year-old man found with his missing 14-year-old daughter. The Lonoke County Sheriff says they responded to the initial call regarding Fosler in July.
Took a report of a inappropriate relationship, possible sexual misconduct, and we realized that was Cabot jurisdiction. We reported that to Cabot detectives. Cabot worked that case. He was subsequently arrested back in July, placed in the Lonoke County Detention Center. The initial charges was rape and internet stalking. And I believe other charges were added, such as child pornography.
Spencer called the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office the night of October 8th, reporting his 14-year-old daughter missing.
Hey, my daughter, I can't find her. She's not in her room. So initial call is a missing juvenile. Tuesday morning, about 1 o'clock in the morning. As we're arriving on scene, we get the second 911 call of a shooting.
While deputies were on their way, Spencer informed them that he found his daughter in a truck with Fosler. This led to a dispute between the two men, ultimately with Spencer fatally shooting Fosler.
And it was just down the road. Deputies arrived, investigators arrived. Mr. Spencer was detained because that was a homicide.
The sheriff says the investigation is still ongoing and is in the hands of the prosecutor.
My investigators have family, they have children. I'm a daddy. In a situation similar to this, I can't tell you I wouldn't act the same way. But now we are the fact finders. We don't file the charges. We supply the information.
No, I'm sorry. You are not the fact finders. The jury is the fact finders. You're the investigators. You're not the fact finders. I think this guy's a little confused about his role and his duties because, as we read earlier, there was a lawsuit filed against him for failing to protect female inmates who were apparently abused by staff of your Jail, sheriff.
So the prosecutor can make a determination whether it was justified or not.
The sheriff says his thoughts are with both sides of the families, saying that the families of predators often do not know what the individual is up to. On her side, I'm Daniela DeHogany.
And again, Spencer was arrested on a preliminary charge of first-degree murder, but is now out on bond. This case is now in the hands of the Lonoke County Prosecuting Attorney's Office, which will ultimately make the decision whether or not to file formal charges.
A man claims he found his missing teenage daughter
and then
in
Jesse
a car
Weber
with
did
a
a piece on this.
67-year-old
Hang on.
man, an alleged stalker.
Here's
now
his picture. Everyone said we want to see his picture. Here's his picture. Here's Michael Fosler. And this goes all the way back to October of 2024. So the media was on it in the beginning. This is a long crime. And Heather Spencer, the girl's mom and wife of Erin Spencer, said more victims came forward to her. I don't know if they went to law enforcement. This guy apparently was the chief of police in Indiana somewhere, because you can't make that up either before he moved to Arkansas. Let's just take a quick look at this. Because on September 4th of 2024, because you just can't make this up, there's an order in the file in the state of Arkansas versus Michael Fosler on September 4th of 2024. Before his death, by which must have been the same judge, Judge Elmore, right? There's no signature on this one, but it says, this court, having considered all facts and law, hereby orders and adjudges that the affidavit shall be sealed due to minor victim. It is so ordered. Prepared by Chuck Graham, the prosecuting attorney, signed by, I imagine, Barbara Elmore. And so the charges that Michael Fosler faced against Spencer's daughter were sealed. They could have just redacted it. They could have redacted it. They didn't have to seal the whole entire file. But yeah, they did that on September 4th of 2024. Right? And he had been let out in July because they didn't want the public to know about this. They didn't want the public to know that Judge Barbara Elmore let this guy out with, $50,000 bond, or $50,000, which is like a $5,000 bond, right? So we can't even get a hold of the charges. So there's that. Let's listen to what Jesse Weber has to say, because this is actually a pretty good piece. We may skip through it a little bit, fair use and all, but he covered it right away, and then crickets.
His father is accused of killing that man, and he could be facing criminal charges.
Erin Spencer.
I'm going to talk with renowned predator catcher Chris Hansen to get to the bottom of this story. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. This was a wild series of events that played out very quickly in the middle of the night in Arkansas last week. So we have 36-year-old Erin Spencer, who reportedly called 911 to say that his 14-year-old daughter was missing. And while his wife searched the area around the home, Spencer hopped into his truck, started driving around looking for her. And that is when Spencer apparently spotted 67-year-old Michael Fosler with his teenage daughter in a car. And according to Spencer's wife, Heather, he started chasing the car that Fosler was driving. There was some sort of accident. After the crash, there was apparently some kind of confrontation between the two men, and Spencer allegedly shot Fosler, killing him. Well, when Lonoke County Sheriff's deputies arrived, they took Spencer into custody on suspicion of murder. His family was able to get enough money together for a $150,000 bail. There's a lot of different moving parts in this, including Fosler's history. So I want to bring in right now renowned predator catcher, founder of True Blue, the host of Takedown on True Blue, the host of Predators I've Caught, with Chris Hansen. Who am I going to bring in? I think you guessed it, Chris Hansen, to talk more about this. Chris, good to see you.
What a wild case, Jesse.
I was going to ask you, in your experience, have you seen this kind of vigilante justice?
Apparently, the guy was already warned in some method or fashion. And so they get onto this, the father does, and he finds the girl in this guy's car. Imagine the outrage. Now, you know, that doesn't mean it's okay to kill somebody because of this, but you have to take this into consideration. So I would have to believe that while there are charges here, and while it may be a question of fact for a judge or jury, jury's going to be pretty sympathetic to a fellow who's in this position.
I'm going to make the argument.
Kelly Reed is here, and she's ready to support us in our new cause of freeing Erin Spencer. Hi, Kelly. Kelly says they have a Facebook support page like Karen and Aiden's, as well as a Give, Send, Go. Melanie, your YouTube stream is even highlighted on the account. That's awesome. And also down below in the show notes, I posted the link to the Facebook group and also the link to the Give, Send, Go. I will flesh that out a little bit more later with the show notes. I just didn't have a lot of time last night when I set this up.
Argument, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, if you can even get a fair and impartial jury in a case like this. But your experience in your career, you've seen parents who have taken.
Oh, I've seen. Yeah, it's happened.
Violent with people like this.
It's happened. It's rare.
Yeah.
Most people let the criminal justice system do its job. But I just finished a sting operation in Florida with the Polk County Sheriff's deputies down there and detectives, Grady Judd, the sheriff down there. And in a matter of days, we caught a lifeguard from a Disney resort. I mean, here's a guy who's looking at children all day, and he shows up at our sting house to meet up and have a sexual liaison with a 14-year-old girl because he says his fiance wasn't paying enough attention to him. We had another guy who was in the Orlando area on business as a videographer there for a convention from Minnesota. He lies about his name. He jerks the detectives around. He lies to me during my interview with him. And it turns out all the time, all the while we're talking to him, he is out on bail after being arrested for virtually the same crime in Minnesota.
All right, let's talk about this case instead of other cases.
Raised our understanding online. Imagine. It has caused a lot of outrage in the local community and online. So Heather set up a Give, Send, Go fundraising page, which has raised, our understanding, more than $100,000 to go toward Erin Spencer's legal defense. I believe this was after an issue with GoFundMe because you're not allowed to raise money for a legal defense on that platform. So she's accepting donations through Venmo and Cash App. But a lot of people are outraged at what happened here. And a couple days after the shooting, the sheriff took to Facebook to kind of try to quell the growing unrest.
As your sheriff, it is our duty to conduct a thorough and factual investigation. Law enforcement does not file charges. We gather evidence and submit a case to the prosecutor, who will then decide whether or not to file charges. Currently, official charges have not been filed. I have not, nor will I, advocate for any specific charge.
Now, as of Monday night, it doesn't appear that the district attorney's office has filed official charges. This was more a preliminary murder charge, so there's not an official charge yet. But we are learning more about Mr. Spencer and Mr. Fosler's backgrounds. So we started by looking up the suspected shooter, Erin Spencer, and we actually looked him up on Truth Finder.
Oh, please. They always like try and plug their Truth Finder BS.
Like, don't work in public report. Fosler actually started a post from Heather on the fundraising page. Her daughter's interactions with Fosler actually started earlier this year. She wrote, in spring, summer 2024, our then 13-year-old child was targeted, groomed, and ultimately raped by the boyfriend of a family friend. Our family did not know this monster. He just appeared in a place where our child should have been safe and got access to her phone number. And that's all it took. We let the justice system do its job. The monster who hurt our child was charged quickly, but released even faster on a $50,000 bond. He was awaiting court in December for several felonies in relation to what he did to our child. Now, those charges appeared to include internet stalking of a child and sexual assault, but the exact details weren't available because the criminal complaint has been sealed for privacy. But Chris, that kind of gives us an idea of what we're dealing with here.
Well, yeah, obviously this guy was caught. The damage was done to this child, the grooming and the exploitation. And he doesn't learn his lesson, just like the guys I described in our most recent sting.
He didn't learn his lesson. He kidnapped her, I think, with intent to kill her. And I don't know what happened because I wasn't there, but the daughter is a witness. And this is likely a self-defense case. First of all, how did he get her out of her house? He probably had a weapon. He probably drew his gun, and then Aaron Spencer drew his gun, killed him, self-defense, game over, 911, here he is, come pick him up, like roadkill. Bye-bye. Had he not gotten there in time and just happened upon that truck, his daughter might have very well not returned home ever.
Not stop until he is put in prison. And so that's all going to come into play when the prosecutor considers the charges against the father of the victim here. And I can't imagine that he'll see a day in prison.
The idea, though, that he goes after the person that he's accused of first targeting, not even going out and trying to attack someone, but going after the initial person. That's the part. And that's why people are outraged that he was out on bail, too.
He's a stone cold predator.
She was the only witness in his upcoming trial. She was the only witness. Clear motive to get rid of her.
I mean, what else can you say about a guy like this? Somebody like that is incorrigible. Somebody like that doesn't learn a lesson. Somebody like that can't be deterred. If you get arrested and you're out on bail pending criminal charges of this type and you go back, these people in some cases are like heroin addicts.
Yeah.
They need to fulfill this fantasy. The heroin addict knows there's a 20% chance there's fentanyl in the heroin. They do it.
Yeah, okay. All right, whatever. I don't like your analogies. How about this? A pedo offends at least 100 times before they're ever caught. How about that? How about that? I don't believe there's any rehabilitation for these people. I handled the Catholic Church cases, okay? I know corruption, cover up at the highest level, and I know and understand the dynamic of grooming and all of those other things. This is not like heroin, dude, all right? All right, forget what I said about this being a good piece, because I don't like it. Hold on.
Said that on social media, they believed Fosler had taken the girl to kill her. So when this car wreck happened, Spencer says he was able to grab his daughter from the car. Fosler attacked him, so he shot him. So kind of a self-defense argument. Now, the sheriff has said that they investigate every death involving a shooting like this as a homicide, and whether or not they believe that homicide was justifiable or not, that would have to be determined as the investigation progressed. But Chris, here's the thing. You put the legal aspects to the side. Whether this was self-defense or perhaps even downgraded to something like voluntary manslaughter. You're acting in the heat of the moment. You're acting under extreme emotional disturbance. Guy sees his daughter allegedly being kidnapped, and he's coming to the rescue. You can understand
the process of a kidnapping.
You put aside the legal aspect. I don't understand from a point of view, from a public policy point of view, how they charge him. I don't. I get it.
Yeah,
you don't want everybody taking justice into their own hands, but.
Yeah, especially given the fact that there is this belief that maybe he was going to kill the girl. And maybe in his twisted mind, without that witness, he doesn't face prison on the charges.
You don't got to be twisted to know that.
And we also don't know what was going through the father's head, but I can predict without fear of contradiction that the father was afraid. And if you're looking at your daughter in the hands of a predator, again, I don't see how this guy gets charged.
Well, he's charged. He's been charged.
Yeah. Let's say this is a murder charge.
Because allegedly,
a fair and impartial jury, given the community outrage.
And this guy apparently used to be the chief of police in some place in Indiana.
I don't see.
All right, whatever. You can hypothesize all you want. Give me some more facts, would you? All right, now you're going to talk about the Menendez brothers? All right, I had some other stuff on this playlist. Let me just see what came up next. Hold on. Talk amongst yourselves for a second. The more I learn about this, the more it outrages me. And that defendants are forced to pay all this money to defend themselves against these bogus overcharges. Overcharges. All right, here's Chris Cuomo, who I've grown to like recently. Don't hate me. This is only 2 minutes long, but goes all the way back again to October 15th of 2024. This is why people go to YouTube for these stories, because News Nation is no longer covering this. Court TV, I don't think, is covering this anymore.
Matt, let me start with you. Is the analysis, even in a case where, man, did the system mess up by letting this guy out? Is the analysis as simple as, in the state, whether if it's not stand your ground, was it reasonable for him to use deadly force in defense of his own life or the defense of his child's life? Is that the end of the analysis for this guy, this dad, Matt?
Ultimately, that is the end. That's the call that a jury, if they charge him with anything here, Chris, that will be the decision they have to make. And this is in my view, they shouldn't arrest him for first-degree murder. That is, the sheriff's right. The prosecutor decides what to charge. This is a voluntary manslaughter at its absolute most. And this is really the analysis here is he defending his daughter? Is he defending his wife his daughter from death or great bodily injury? I think a lot of jurors here are going to say yes.
Misty?
Even a brilliant prosecutor could not get a conviction in this case. We're talking about a confrontation that happens while his minor daughter is in the car. Someone who's been accused of a rape is in violation of a no contact order. That's what really matters, what happened in that time frame. And I don't think we see charges here. And if we do, I think a jury is going to acquit.
Just quickly, help me understand this. So he wasn't really charged. That's why the sheriff backed away from it. They arrested on probable cause. Now they'll figure out they're going to dump it on the prosecutor. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to follow this one because I don't know how they let this guy out. What did they think was going to happen? Misty Maris, Matt Murphy, thank you for the quick take on this. We'll have the conversation again. Dan Abrams.
Pleasure as always.
Right now. Hey, thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find News Nation on your screen. And don't forget, click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Thank you, Rochelle. Oh, this is after the not guilty plea. Hang on. Let's go back to this. This was after the not guilty plea, and this was December 2nd, 2024. And this is 5 News. It's a local station. I like going to local stations for these stories because they seem to have a lot more invested in the stories that are local.
An Arkansas father pleads not guilty today to second-degree murder charges. Erin Spencer is charged in the deadly shooting of 67-year-old man he found in the car with his 14-year-old daughter. Rebecca Brown was in the courtroom today and has the latest developments on a case that got a lot of national attention.
Erin Spencer is not a criminal.
Monday morning, Erin Spencer uttered the words "not guilty" in front of a judge at the Lonoke County Sheriff's Office, where he is facing charges for second-degree murder. All this because of an incident on October 8th, where police reports say Spencer's teenage daughter was missing and was discovered by Spencer in a car with 67-year-old Michael Fosler. According to the Sheriff's Office, this eventually led to an argument ending with Spencer shooting and killing Fosler.
He was absolutely fearful for her life. Not to mention that she had been repeatedly the subject of multiple assaults, violent assaults on a child. What are we doing here?
According to court documents, Fosler was charged in early September with 2 counts of sexual assault and 2 counts of sexual indecency with a child, along with several other charges. According to Spencer's defense attorney, Erin Cassinelli, in her words, he did what any parent would have done.
We feel very confident that this community is going to come to Erin's side because every one of them would have done the same thing for their child or their neighbor's child or a member of their family.
But according to prosecuting attorney Chuck Graham, who charged Spencer with second-degree murder, Spencer's fear is only part of the story.
They had a lot to say about the situation and me, but what's being put out there is not the whole story. And ethically, I can't go much further than that.
Outside of the sheriff's office stood family and friends of Erin Spencer. This case catching the eyes of people beyond Lonoke County, as many Facebook comments feel as strongly as both sides defending in the state versus Erin Spencer.
And we look forward to the public being involved in this process, certainly more so than they were today.
A trial date will be set somehow.
And this is why there was a gag order. This is why there was a gag order, because of these statements that these attorneys made after court. Are you kidding me? Thank God for the Arkansas Supreme Court overruling it, vacating it, something, and it's very suspicious, right? Now it makes us really, really want to know why there was a gag order on this case. Because this same judge let Fosler out. And she's the reason, maybe, that this happened. Because if he was in jail where he belonged, this might not have happened. Right? Of course, right.
Time out in the future for a jury trial, and we'll go from there.
That was Rebecca Brown reporting. Now, the judge set a date today for Spencer's trial and scheduled jury selection to start next March 19th.
Tonight, we're learning previously unknown details of a murder case.
Well, okay, here's some more. Previously unknown details of a murder case. This is right after the gag order was lifted. So this is 1 month ago on May 29th of 2025. This is THV 11, which I assume is also a local station. And you guys who are local can let me know where they're out of here. THV 11. This is after the gag order was lifted. I'm telling you, it's not like mainstream media picked this right back up again. They didn't. So thank you to whoever tagged me in that TikTok video.
Tonight, we're learning previously unknown details of a murder case so sensational the judge and prosecutors worried about conducting a fair trial. But today, a majority of the Arkansas Supreme Court basically released those details themselves, saying Aaron Spencer and his lawyers have the right to speak publicly about how the man accused of sexually assaulting his teenage daughter ended up dead last year. Let's recap how we all got here. Lonoke County deputies arrested Spencer last October, with the sheriff's office saying then only that he killed 67-year-old Michael Fosler after a fight and after he had found him with his teenage daughter. Prosecutors charged Spencer with second-degree murder. Court documents reveal Fosler was facing numerous sexual charges involving Spencer's daughter and had posted bond. Spencer's family took to social media. They started calling him a hero. His lawyers saying he did the same thing that any father would have done.
We feel very confident that this community is going to come to Aaron's side because every one of them would have done the same thing for their child or their neighbor's child or a member of their family.
Well, this was the statement that she gave all the way back in December, right before the gag order was issued. And this story is from after it was lifted. Oh, yeah, it says right here, December 2024. Okay, good.
But that lawyer, Erin Cassinelli, made that statement in defiance of the judge in the case. Lonoke County Circuit Judge Barbara Elmore had put a gag order on the case and sealed almost every document.
That was after.
Spencer and his lawyers appealed that. And today, a strong ruling from the state's high court. The gag order violated Spencer's First Amendment rights, with 3 justices saying they thought the case should have been removed from Judge Elmore's court.
Well, he's wrong because
That's
the
not
gag
gonna
order, the gag order was
But
on
the
December
ruling
10th. And I think we said that statement was something like the 5th. So that's why the gag order was issued. So I think he's wrong about that.
Cassinelli made that statement in defiance of the judge in the case. Lonoke County Circuit Judge Barbara Elmore had
wouldn't
put a
violate it
gag order
knowingly.
on the case
No, I
and
disagree.
sealed almost every document. Spencer and his lawyers appealed that. And today, a strong ruling from the state's high court. The gag order violated Spencer's First Amendment rights, with 3 justices saying they thought the case should have been removed from Judge Elmore's court. That's not going to happen, but the ruling listed new details that we didn't know before. Spencer had discovered his daughter had snuck out. He jumped into his truck and found Fosler with his daughter inside that truck.
No, I don't think he learned that his daughter snuck out. His daughter was missing. He woke up and found his daughter missing. She didn't sneak out. He may have come in with a weapon and forced her out of the house. So I don't know that that's ever been. Correct me if I'm wrong. The bed was stuffed with like a stuffed animal that had like a hoodie on it, like, kids used to do back in the day when they snuck out. Somebody said the dog barked. Dude definitely came inside. That detail has not been released, says Kara. So thank you for that.
Opinion from Justice Courtney Ray Hudson said Spencer forced Fosler off the highway that night. That's when they fought. And moments later, Spencer called 911 to say he shot Fosler. Cassinelli released a statement praising the ruling and applauding the clear guidelines that it lays out for future gag orders. Justice Hudson writing that gag orders should be a last resort and not a first impulse. Spencer pleaded not guilty last year. He has a pretrial hearing scheduled for August 8th.
August 8th. And guess what? It's not going to be televised. And here's Annabelle. Remember, we were talking about Annabelle before. Oh, look, that video is recommending this video of us right now. Here we are live, and it's recommending us. This is Annabelle. For those of you who didn't know about Annabelle, I don't want to play anybody else's content, but Ed Warren and Lorraine Warren are the two paranormal investigators or experts that the Conjuring movies were based on. And that was all about Annabelle. That's a crazy story. We may have to do that after this. Maybe on a different stream, because I want to keep this stream separate so that people can find it and get all of the information in one place. Yeah, people say at the best she was lured out. Maybe she was lured out. We don't know. But 13 and 67, this is insane. Let me just pull up the court docket, because the pretrial hearing is scheduled for, what did they just say? August 8th. And then the trial, according to my notes, is supposed to happen on September 22nd. That's probably the day they're going to start jury selection. I highly doubt there's going to be cameras in there. Might have to do like a road trip. Green-eyed Southern Girl says she's going to take notes and she'll send them to me. Yeah, I will post the dates in the show notes, but August 8th is the next conference. Although, if we publicize it, perhaps they'll cancel it and put it on another date, because the judge doesn't want us to, talk about the case. Let me see if she's been taken off the case. Hold on. So we got, oh no, this is the writ of certiorari case. Hold on, let me go back. Luckily, Arkansas is one of those states that it's very easy to access their criminal dockets, like some other states like California, where we're trying to get the documents on Frazier Baum, Alan Jackson's next case, and an attorney went to Van Nuys courthouse, and the only computer that was accessible to the public to get the court docket records doesn't work, because they don't want anybody knowing about that case either. Yeah, the judge is still Judge Barbara Elmore. It's always Barbara Elmore. So she hasn't been taken off the case. Can't get a lot of the well, this is interesting, because the records with regard to Fosler are sealed, and we can't access those records. But we can access the criminal information on Erin Spencer. So let's take a look at that. Since they've all been unsealed, I guess everything was sealed. Give me a second while I download it. Seems like you guys are planning a meetup in Arkansas. I love that for you guys. If this case goes to, I'm sure it's going to go to trial, right? How are they're going to drop it now? This is the state of Arkansas versus Aaron David Spencer. This is the information That was filed on November 27th of 2024. Oh, Green Eyed Southern Girl says, Melanie, the cupcakes will make you proud. I know if anybody can do this, you guys can. I know you can. You did it for Karen Reed. Information. I, Chuck Graham, prosecuting attorney within and for the 23rd Judicial District of the state of Arkansas, which consists of Lonoke County, in the name of and by the authority of the state of Arkansas, on information, accuse the defendant with the crimes of murder 2, Class A felony, in violation of Arkansas law, section 510-103, and felony with a firearm in violation of ACA 1690-120, committed as follows. The state of Arkansas alleges that on or about October 8th of 2024, in Lonoke County, Arkansas, the defendant, count 1, did knowingly cause the death of another person under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to the value of human life, a Class A felony, in violation of ACA 510-103, to wit, Michael Fosler, against the peace and dignity of the state of Arkansas. Enhancement. Any person convicted of any offense that is classified by the laws of this state as a felony who employed any firearm of any character as a means of committing or escaping from the felony in the discretion of the sentencing court may be subjected to an additional period of confinement in the state penitentiary for a period not to exceed 15 years in violation of ACA 16-90-120. XOXO, prosecuting attorney. I mean, did a chicken sign that or a squirrel? Chuck Graham. Oh my gosh, you guys are amazing. Look at this. Look at this, you guys. Magnolia Gypsy is here and says, y'all, it's up to 15,253. That is some snark tank action taken there, you guys. Therapy is expensive. Thank you for keeping me posted on the Give Send Go. You guys are amazing. Well, since they're all unsealed now, there's not a lot of filings in this case, shockingly. Or maybe not so. And it's going to trial. I mean, there's not a lot of filings here at all. Other than like the motion to the gag order. Oh, there's some stuff here. Okay. I don't know. We might be here longer than I planned to, but are you okay with keeping going on this? Because I feel like when I looked at this docket, like the other day, this stuff was not available and now it's available. Motion to exclude mention of the glass pipe. Exactly, Kara. Exactly. Well, here's a notice of intent to use justification as a defense. That was filed December 3rd of 2024 for the gag order. Motion to continue our stream today. Okay. All right, it's respectable. There's like 3,500 people here. So some people must have ducked out. They must have ducked out to go watch the Koberger hearing, but like, guy pled guilty. Like, what else? What else is there? This guy needs to be freed. Koberger is taken care of for now. I second that emotion. We're doing it. I mean, if we're going to do it, let's do it. We're not going to do it half-assed ever. We're never doing it half-assed. We're always going to do it all the way. This is filed by Erin Spencer's attorneys. Notice of intent to raise justification as a defense. Comes now the defendant, Erin Spencer, by and through his attorneys, Erin Cassinelli and Michael Kaiser of Lassiter and Cassinelli, and for his notice of intent to raise justification as a defense, states and alleges as follows. 1, the defendant is charged with a felony offense. 2, the defendant does indeed intend to raise justification as a defense under the Arkansas Code, Section 52604, 606, and 607. That would be self-defense in the above referenced case. And according to most court rules in most states, you have to tell them that you're going to raise this as a defense. Wherefore, the defendant is hereby giving notice to the state and to the court of his intent to raise justification as a defense in this matter. Crime and Theories is here and says spread Erin Spencer's name everywhere. And then I see motion in limine. This was filed in February, while the gag order was still in place, of course, to exclude reference to alleged glass smoking device found in the patrol cruiser pursuant to Arkansas Rule of Evidence. Because you know how that goes. What had happened was, as we heard from the TikToker the other day, Erin Spencer was placed in the back seat of the patrol car by the sheriff, Staley. And then there was a pipe in the back of the car. So let's see what this motion in limine, motions in limine, or motions in lemonade, as sometimes the closed captions call them, are made in order to exclude or include evidence prior to trial. And this was made all the way back in February. If anybody has a line to Ms. Cassinelli and she wants to come on the show and talk about the case now that the gag order has been lifted, happy to host. This is a motion in limine to exclude reference to alleged glass smoking device found in patrol cruiser pursuant to Arkansas Rules of Evidence and Andrew versus White, U.S. Supreme Court case from 2025. Oh, look at that. Comes now defendant Erin Spencer by and through his attorney, Michael Keel of Lassiter and Cassinelli, and for his motion states, the state's discovery file alleges officers found a glass smoking device in the patrol cruiser where they were detaining Erin Spencer at the scene on the night of the charged act. Spencer demanded a blood test to confirm he was not a drug user. The state did not file any charges related to the device. The court must exclude any reference to or evidence about the glass smoking device pursuant to Arkansas Rules of Evidence 401, 402, 403, and 404B, and pursuant to the U.S. Supreme Court's recent decision in Andrew versus White. Such evidence has no independent relevance and does not fall into any of the listed or known exceptions to the Arkansas Rule of Evidence's 404B's general prescription on character evidence. Further, any probative value that the evidence has, which Spencer does not concede, was grossly outweighed by the dangers of unfair prejudice and confusion on the issue of the issues. Rule 404B of the Arkansas Rule of Evidence provides rules of evidence. Evidence of other crimes, wrongs, or acts is not admissible to prove the character of a person in order to show that he acted in conformity therewith. It may, however, be admissible for other purposes, such as proof of motive, opportunity, intent, preparation, plan, knowledge, identity, or absence of mistake or accident. Oh, Wayne, I guess you were overwatching the Koberger hearing. The judge quoted some cases that said that Brian Koberger can still appeal. Well, there's the breaking news for you. Prior bad acts evidence must be independently relevant to the main issue, relevant in the sense of tending to prove some material point rather than merely to prove that the defendant is a criminal. Even if relevant under 404B, evidence may still be excluded under Arkansas Rule of Evidence 403 if its probative value is substantially outweighed by the danger of unfair prejudice, confusion of the issues, or misleading the jury. The state is not entitled to introduce evidence of other offenses to persuade the jury that the accused is a criminal and thus likely to have committed the crimes he has been charged with. Specifically, proof of other crimes is never admitted when its only relevance is to show the defendant is a man of bad character and or addicted to crime. Yeah, thank God he requested a drug test. I don't think they drug tested him, though. Let's keep reading. The evidence at issue has no independent relevance to the no independent relevance to the charged act. Whether Spencer possessed the glass smoking device, something he bitterly disputes, has no bearing on whether he knowingly killed the alleged victim or whether he was justified in so doing. The evidence is irrelevant and inadmissible accordingly. Instead, this evidence is the worst kind of propensity evidence meant to encourage the jury to find Spencer guilty in accordance with his poor character as a purported drug user, despite no proof that this is the case, rather than evidence associated with the charged offense. Any marginal relevance the evidence may have, which Spencer does not concede, is outweighed by the dangers of confusion of the issues and unfair prejudice, and must be excluded pursuant to Rule 403 accordingly. The trial would become about whether Spencer is a drug user rather than whether he committed a crime or was justified in killing the alleged victim. It is particularly prejudicial when, as here, the proffered evidence connects a party with a highly charged public issue, such as narcotics. The danger of unfair prejudice from admission of drug-related evidence is great because a drug offense is the kind of crime for which a jury may feel a defendant should be punished, regardless of his guilt as to the charged offense. This court must exclude the evidence pursuant to Rule 403 accordingly. The evidence does not fit into any exception listed in Rule 404B and is in fact precisely the type of evidence that Rule 404B exists to keep out. Further admission of this evidence would violate Spencer's due process rights. When evidence is introduced that is so unduly prejudicial that it renders the trial fundamentally unfair, the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment provides a mechanism for relief. This court must exclude the evidence at issue accordingly. Wherefore, the defendant respectfully requests that this court enter an order precluding the state from offering any evidence about the glass smoking device during the trial in this matter, or alternatively, for a hearing whereby the state may specify which exception to Rule 404B it believes applies, and where the court may determine whether such evidence will be admissible by the jury in the jury trial. XOXO, Lassiter and Cassinelli in Little Rock, Arkansas, signed by Michael Kaiser. These are great attorneys. And I don't think that they're public defenders because I think that I read somewhere that there was a fund set up for defense costs. And so that's awesome. Let's see if it's been ruled on yet. Well, no, because actually the case was stayed during the appeal. So let's see. Oh, and then the defendant filed a supplement to it, this same motion in Limine about the glass pipe. I think he's alleging that the glass pipe was planted. Wouldn't be the first time, would it? Because we may have been born at night, but not last night. So on June 3rd, after the gag order was lifted, Erin's attorneys have filed this supplement to the motion in Limine about the smoking pipe, the glass smoking. I guess it was a crack pipe of some kind, right? Spencer supplements his original filing to provide additional information more recently obtained that bears on the admissibility of the evidence at issue. The smoking device at issue was found in a patrol car at the scene of the shooting. Reports detail the events as they relate to the finding of the device. At the scene, an officer placed Spencer into a patrol cruiser, removed him, and then later placed him back in the other side of the patrol cruiser. When Spencer was placed in the vehicle, he noticed the device immediately He noticed the device and immediately notified officers that it was already inside the cruiser when he was placed there. Spencer immediately denied it belonged to him and demanded a drug screen to prove he did not use drugs. He consented to a blood draw for this purpose, although if the state ordered a test, the results have not yet been disclosed to the defense. Kohberger gag order was lifted? Okay. Okay. Wait, does that mean that all the documents are going to be unsealed? Okay, wait. Kohberger's sealed documents will be unsealed after his appeals are exhausted. So in 5 years. Okay. All right. So you guys who went over there for the hearing, that's what you got. The gag order is lifted and the documents will be unsealed after in 5 years. Okay. He has no appeals though. But then somebody said that the judge named some cases that may allow him to have an appeal. I don't know. I wasn't watching it because I was here with you. And to me, this is more important right now. So you can catch up on that later. And based on the fact that I haven't covered Kohberger for its entirety, I just don't really want to jump into it now. Okay. But thank you guys for telling everyone in the chat who might have felt like they were missing out, because FOMO is real. FOMO is real. Okay. Let's try and stay on topic. I know we all have ADHD. We all do. We all do. ADD, ADHD. I don't know what they're calling it now. We used to call it ADD back in the day. And so, I don't know, which is why we're here for Erin Spencer right now, because listen to this. In addition, the ASCL testing of the device yielded a partial male DNA profile that affirmatively excluded Spencer. Oh, wow. My neck. The DNA on the pipe was not Spencer's DNA. Oh, was it the sheriff's DNA? Was it did somebody put it there? Who did they arrest earlier in the day in that exact same patrol car? And really, did they not sweep the car before they put the guy in? Like this is getting worse and worse and worse. They did blood draw. They never got the results. The defense doesn't have the results. Based on the information provided by the state, the evidence indicates a lack of sufficient connection between the smoking device located in the patrol car and the defendant, such that the state could not make a sufficient showing that the defendant ever possessed the item at issue to render it admissible pursuant to Rule 404B or for any other purpose. Further, because all signs point to the device having been placed in the cruiser by someone other than Spencer, the risk of unfair prejudice and confusion of the issues is especially great. The question of how the device came to be in the patrol car will also unreasonably extend the trial in this matter. Accordingly, this court must exclude the evidence at issue. Please give us an order saying you're excluding this. And this was just filed on, what did we say, June 3rd? All right, let's keep going. Let's see if we can keep going. Well, the last filing in here is the mandate from the Arkansas Supreme Court, filed June 20th of 2025, vacating the gag order. That is the last filing. But what we know so the court's initial scheduling order had a pretrial conference scheduled for March 17th of 2025 with a jury trial in March of 2025. But that is no longer in effect because during the pendency of the Arkansas Supreme Court proceedings, the case was stayed, which means it's frozen. So I'm looking for, somehow I have the new dates. And August 8th is the pretrial conference. Will it be open to the public? I don't know. What goes on there in Lonoke County? Huh. Joint motion for continuance. That was in February. Let's see about that. So both sides agree to delay the trial. And they want to reset it for a 5-day trial. It's only going to be a 5-day trial. Hold on. So that's kind of where we are. August 8th will be the next hearing. 8/8. Let me close some of the 500 tabs that I have open right now. And go to the chat. Patriot Biker says, bless this father for saving his daughter's life. Atheist Aunt, everyone would do what this dad did. This DA is obviously, I'm not going to get into politics. I have no idea. But thank you for your 10. I'll allow it. Piney Woods Law and Crime. Who is defense counsel again? I would love to pro hoc in pro bono. This mama and grandmama is outraged. It is, I think I just mentioned it. And so our, your super chat is from earlier. Lassiter and Cassinelli. I think Little Rock is what we said. Lassiter and Cassinelli. Thank you for getting outraged, Piney Woods. Crazy Cat Lady. If no one involved was allowed to speak, what would the media be able to cover? They can continue to cover the case. I mean, I cover cases all the time without having the attorneys speaking to me or the family speaking to me, right? I still talk about it. I still get the word out. In fact, all of the coverage that I've done, none of the families have ever come on my show or the attorneys during the pendency of the case. I did luckily have the opportunity to have a conversation with David Yannetti and Bob Alessi after the Karen Reed trial. Second trial was over, but you can still get public awareness without them speaking to you, right? Thanks for the 5. New Hampshire woman says the blue wall of silence still protecting the bad guy. There's a lot more to this story, I think. Karina's here. She's named for a Bob Dylan song. Ooh, I needed something to get my teeth into. This is it. This is it. We need to be outraged and we need somebody else to free. This is like the Innocence Project of YouTube, I've decided, and you've allowed it. So it's where we're going. And thank you for bringing this case to my attention because I'm mad. Thank you, Brittany Murphy, for your super sticker. Shelly McCarthy became a new member and Simil J became a new member. Jojo says translation. Oh, girly pop. That's not cute, but no. Thanks, Jojo. Debbie, thanks for your super sticker. I'll take your, I'm very happy that you are watching and interested in this case. And thank you for your super sticker. Amanda, mother of Cats Nerd at Law, has been here for 4 months. Thanks for all that you do, Melanie. It's my pleasure. Alyssa says, I'm in Northeast Louisiana and messaged my mom about trying to go to support. It's about 4 hours from us. We might not be Turtle Boy, but we can give it hell. Thanks, Alyssa. Shannon Burgess says, this could have ended like Robert Seaman, Youngstown, Ohio. So thankful for this father. Yeah. Kelly Reed is a member. Hi, Kelly. Some guy with cancer. I'm 2 hours away from this. Free Erin Spencer. Thank you. Let's trend that hashtag free Aaron Spencer. eBay Warhol says Florida loves Sheriff Grady Judge. Thanks, Tracy. South Arma guitarist says Gary Plausch, I don't know how to pronounce it, in 1984 was acquitted of almost the same exact thing. The video is still up there. I remember that. In an airport. Was it in an airport or something? Or it involved a payphone? I don't remember, but I know what you're talking about. Gigi's got the silver bracelets ready. Says there would not have been an unaliving thing left in my weapon if that was one of my daughters. That I assure you. Thanks, Gigi. Ash says, thanks for your advocacy. Thank you for being with me for 3 months. Helena says, a parent's job is to protect their child. That's exactly what he did. That girl would not have survived, in my opinion. It was self-defense, no question. Thank you. Thanks, Helena. Helena can see it all the way from Sweden. False as an Uno, false as an omnibus. Sherilyn says the state should be ashamed. Free Aaron Spencer. Thank you, Sherilyn. And Kelly Reed is here and gifted 5 memberships. Yay, Kelly. Thank you. Thank you. Zimmy gifted membership. Thanks, Zimmy. A lot of new members today. Gigi's got the silver bracelets ready. Well, Gigi, we have we have all those special emojis for members, and we have the handcuffs. Thanks for gifting 5 memberships. Gigi, you're awesome. Jojo says, seriously, they're going to use the oldest trick in the book? It's 2025, not 1990. Yep. Gigi's back into the leaf blower. Put the pipe there. Have to get rid of the leaf blower emoji? Yeah, I suppose the leaf blower emoji's over. Odin Sperm Mom says something similar happened to my late husband. He saved a girl being raped, never even went to court. I was so proud of him. Wow. I'm proud of him too, and I don't even know him. A lot of people won't step in. A lot of people won't get involved because look at what happened with Daniel Penny. Sometimes you're brought up in charges for getting involved. Tracy Fagan, we need to find a case in Orlando, Florida, so I can be a cupcake boots on the ground. There's always stuff happening in Florida. And the thing about Florida is that they're very transparent. Sunshine laws and all, they allow cameras in all the courtrooms. And so that's why so many crazy cases are in Florida and Georgia, because Georgia is the same way too. Right? Thanks, Amanda says, I'm so glad you're covering this case. So am I. Thank you, Colleen. On Venmo says, free Aaron. As a nurse in the 80s, working in a New York hospital, I had the unfortunate duty caring for a retired sheriff from Arkansas. He told me horrific stories of crimes he committed on people. I'm glad to say Karma had found this bilateral below the knee corrupt pic. Wow. Wow. And look at Green Eyed Southern Girl is in Arkansas and says, me too, Melanie. I haven't even heard about it. They're trying to hide it. Thank you, Tracy, for your Venmo. I think this is from yesterday. She says, here we go again. Massachusetts PD officers, 7 Haverhill officers killed a man having a mental break. Definitely excessive force. Is Bradel involved in that one too? I know he's involved in Kelsey Fitzsimmons. It's insane. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're thinking, Cupcakes, and how we can help. How can we help? Let's brainstorm a little bit here. What can we do to help? KH became a new member. Welcome. I think you're gonna like it here. And that came up twice. I'm not sure why. Because YouTube is actually, oh, you upgraded it to VIP. Yay, KH. Yay, it's a VIP. All of my levels of membership are named after concert sections like general admission, VIP, backstage pass. If you know, you know. As you can see the Dave Matthews posters and Dead & Company posters behind me. I think in song lyrics. I don't know anything. I don't know. Hi, Kel. I don't know about Sarah Huckabee Sanders having made any statements on this. Does anybody know? Like, there's not a lot of information on this case at all because they're trying to hide it from the public. Sunflower Day says we can have boots on the ground for all hearings and court dealings. Hey, Liza. Peter Tragos is in Greece right now on a cruise, and he's been going live like every day. I'm like, dude, enjoy your vacation. These cases are still going to be here when you get back. I admire his tenacity, but I don't know. I don't. Will he cover it? I have no idea. But yeah, great idea. And then D says, contribute if you can, like, subscribe, and share to push it out. Boots in Arkansas. Yeah, we need to send Aiden Carney over there. Green Eyed Southern Girl says, Kelly Reed, they haven't shown anything from her on the news. I didn't even know about this case until now. Right. And to think that it goes all the way back to October of 2024. Let's see what the Give Send Go is up to now. Oh, 15,683. You guys are awesome. That makes me want to cry. We're here and we're doing it. We're doing it. Libra in Seattle says lots of people are trying to hide things these days. Yep. Erin says, yeah, I know a woman who unalived her husband in Tennessee because she found her husband in bed with another woman. He had been arrested so many times for DV, the judge let her go, saying he needed killing. It's the oldest defense in the book, right? He needed killing. I'll allow it. Laura says we need to send Aiden Carney over there. He's coming on my channel on Sunday night. Maybe I'll bring this up with him. If you guys have any questions for him, send them to me, put them in the comments. Because he's doing like a tour where everyone is interviewing him. And so we got to do something a little bit different, I think, when Aiden comes on the channel. We ride at dawn. I wrote that in my Instagram post. I said, we ride at 11 a.m. Eastern. Come on, let's go. Let's go. Roxanne says, Sarah is the governor. There is enough of us to get her attention to this. Violet says, I can't believe that people in Arkansas were unaware of this case. Christina became a new member. Welcome. Sarah Brown says, of course they want to hide it. Everyone's first reaction to this case is instant outrage that he was even charged in the first place. Yeah, and then like the planting of the pipe in the car. Really? K.E. Mogensen says, I'm very well familiar with Cabot, Lonoke County, Arkansas. Just research Lonoke County Sheriff's Office corruption. There's a federal case that was filed in August of last year that I will pull. We will go over that as we dive deeper, more deeply into this, because we're not done. I'm not shutting up. Even if there wasn't a gag, even if there was a gag order still, I would still talk about it. They can't silence me. Oh, thanks, Chili Bean. Thanks, Chili Bean. Marcy says, I've been spreading the word since you first brought this to my attention. Alyssa says about Peter, I'm starting to think he would go insane if he didn't constantly work. I know, and he's managing a law firm too. It's crazy. How do Arkansas people feel about Sarah Huckabee or the judge, Lenny? Apparently, also, he posted a nice picture. I don't remember. I saw it maybe on Instagram that it's his 15th anniversary with his wife, and they have some beautiful pictures. And happy anniversary, Peter Tragos. I was on his channel. He said he would come back on mine. I never have asked him, so I will ask him. And so I'll have him back to talk about some things and stuff. But, you know, he's got limited time. Like, he doesn't have, this is my job now, because I was retired until I decided to come on YouTube, and now I'm not stopping. Now I'm not shutting up, because now I have a purpose. And, you know, right now, this is not a popular case. Neither was Karen Reed, by the way, when I first started covering it. I took a lot of heat from a lot of trolls for talking about Karen Reed. A lot of hate, a lot of doxing, a lot of craziness on the cesspool of Twitter. But it didn't shut me up. TBD says, look how Groton PD handled the Long Island audit and the Connecticut trooper. Connecticut has got corruption going on also with the police. Beth Ellen says, any parent would do the same. Cara T says, I wonder what on-the-ground approach brought the most eyes to the Karen Reed case. I like the standouts on bridge overpasses. Green-eyed Southern Girl saying, Melanie, they have hidden it well. KE saying, Lonoke County Sheriff's Office corruption. Well, I'm going to tell you something, because I put this also in the show notes, because I fell into this rabbit hole last night, and there's another creator, and I linked it in the show notes. Just hang on one second while I find it for you, and I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to tell you to go over there. And he did a deep dive on this. He must be local, I think. I think he must be local, but I'm going to show you his page. And I'm going to say, go over there if you want to keep going down the rabbit hole of this, because he's done all the work and the research. And he's done some really good videos on it. So let me just open his page. So it says in the show notes, it says, for a deeper dive into the alleged corruption in Lonoke County. And then I link this video, and he's got like 2, 3, and 4, parts 2, 3, and 4. So here's his page. The creator's name is Carnage on Ice. Carnage on Ice. And he's got a lot of videos on this. A lot of videos on the history and the lore of the corruption in Arkansas and this county specifically. So I linked the part 2 for you, because I kind of covered part 1 and like the background of this case. But he's done the work. He's done the homework. And he's got the videos to prove it. He calls it the lethal legacy of Lonoke County. Going all the way back to the 80s with like cocaine and like a Lassiter, by the way, and Clinton, like it's wild. It's wild. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot to this. Alive Through Spite is suggesting a mass campaign to contact local, state, and national media to shed some light on it. Arkansas Red Cat is here and says, I agree. I heard about it at first, but now know why we haven't heard anything in a long time. Barbara Hall says, I'd like to go to Arkansas, boots on the ground. I'm so tired of hearing about corruption in the small towns. Yeah. Alicia says, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Lady Laura says, someone I followed on TikTok covered it today, and her take was very different, but not in a bad way. Grendel says, because the judge doesn't want anyone questioning her prior decisions like letting Fosler out of jail and judgments to seal documents, all she cares about is the way she is depicted in the public eye. You may be right. Susie Q became a new member. So where else is we've got them in less than 2 hours, over $1,000. Well done, Cupcakes. Well done. Corruption like this needs media attention to prevent it from being swept under the rug, says Alive Through Spite. Sidebar says, please do bring it up to Turtle Boy. Well, he doesn't need to cover. I don't know what his bail conditions are, DC, but he can cover it. He can write stories on it without actually physically going there, right? I don't know that he would have to physically go there to report on it. And I'm not sure if his stories that he reports on are typically only local. I'm not sure. Jeff says, let's ride. Texas Annie says, wow, I love this community. You guys are doing good. We do good. Music to My Soul says, Melanie, I can't find the links you mentioned to the Facebook group and the Give, Send, Go. What am I missing, please? Thanks. It's underneath the video. Close out the chat. And then underneath the video, there are show notes there. If you click on like the link, I don't know if you're on your phone. click on, it says how many people are watching, started 2 hours ago, and then it says more, and then you click more again, and then it should be underneath the video. Maybe you just refresh your browser, go back out and then come back in. Go back out, come back in. Because I just put it in there while we were live. So if you've had the tab open the whole entire time, you might not see it. Now I can't even get back into my own live on my own phone. So it's YouTube. It's a thing. Yeah, don't post the governor's office phone number because I don't want to be like, you know, accused of like inciting people to do things. And I don't want to do that. I'm a lawyer. I can't do that. Green Eyed Southern Girl. She's so excited now. Caroline G is in Arkansas and she's completely unaware of this case. Jazzy says, have you reached out to Tom Kokonowski about this? I know it's not in his state, but he might have some valuable insights if the defense team is watching coverage. He's very busy. He's a working lawyer. I don't know if he's going to have time to look into it. So the answer is no, I haven't, because I literally just fell into the rabbit hole like yesterday. And so you could be right. I don't know how much time he has to dig into other cases when he's handling his own caseload. And it's not local and it's Arkansas, but I know you guys love Tom. So any excuse for Tom to come on the show, you guys will allow, right? Dakota says, we ain't got no quit. We ain't got no quit. Robin says, Brian Camp's case was horrific and should never have been charged. This case, however, is like Camp's case on steroids. Yep. Angelique says, the public is their worst enemy right now. Well, thanks, Susie, for buying me 5 matcha lattes. She says, thanks, Melanie, for talking about this case. I never would have known about it. You are the best. Love you. No, I love you more. I love you more. Don't tell the others. I love you the most. Karen says, obviously, that DA's office has issues too. Tammy, I live in the same state, town, country of the dentist trial, and we don't hear nothing about it. Are you talking here in Colorado? Did they even publish like the opening statements yet? Somebody sent it to me with a WebEx link, but the WebEx is not open to anybody other than the media. And so I know somebody posted like the openings of James Craig, but there's no like stream that I can stream it from. So if anybody knows like a link of a stream that I can actually use instead of like another creator stream, we could watch those openings. But I know that Lauren from Hidden True Crime is there. She's boots on the ground in Aurora, Arapahoe County. She's going to the trial every day and she's doing live recaps at night. So I suggest that you follow Hidden True Crime and listen to Lauren's coverage because she's in the courtroom on that, what has now made me an anti-dentite case of James Craig. KBD. I had so much trust in law enforcement and the judicial system until I heard Karen Reed's case. Beth Ellen says, you're the only channel I follow on YouTube. I'm a Rumble gal. Thanks for your cover. I don't even know what Rumble is. Girl, I don't even know what Rumble is. Is that like Twitch? Is that like gamers? Thank you, Beth Ellen, for your 5 and also for saying that. People love Sarah, they say. We love Sarah. Kelly Mack says, speaking as a former, I don't know, how do you even pronounce the Arkansian? They probably love her. Venus Bluecrest Addie says, seeing as she wouldn't change the law that states that children can get married, I have no faith in Huckabee. Saved by Grace says, Arkansas supports our governor. Let's not get political. This is about freeing Erin Spencer. Lady Lara says, this is why I love you, Melanie. Can't shut me up either. Karen says, Melanie, you're doing a great thing, bringing attention to cases that need light to shine upon them. And if you know, because there's only 3,000 people here right now. So when I was streaming the Karen retrial and the verdict, we had over 50,000 people at a time. But this is what happens. We start off slow, we get people involved, and then these cases become more popular. Because if I wanted the clicks and the views today, like some people accuse me of on Twitter, I would have just streamed the Brian Kohberger hearing for you and said nothing the entire time. So thank you for noticing. I appreciate that. KPT says, please tell me Aaron's out on bail. Yes, he is. 150K. Simi said, yeah, it's like 100, 150. Grendel says, more likes and views on all of your lives on this case in Arkansas. We'll put this case at the top of everyone's YouTube page. Yeah, I have twins who are in college. One of them has a roommate from Texas. And we were talking about this last night. And she was telling me, she was talking about no man's land. She says, my roommate, I'm not going to name anybody, talks about no man's land like it's a real thing. Like it's really no man's land out there. And so I started telling her about the case that I was covering about the missing Kansas moms that went missing. And that was in the Oklahoma Panhandle. And that's insane too. We need to get back on that case because I don't know when that trial's coming up with that grandma, Tiffany Adams, who killed her sons. I don't know if they were ever married. Her son's, the mother of the grandchildren and the court-appointed supervisor for the visitation, the two Kansas moms that were found in the Oklahoma Panhandle. And it's like organized crime in like the Oklahoma Panhandle. And like this woman, Tiffany Adams, and like 4, I think, of her cohorts, like it was horrible what they did to these women. And they're all sitting there. And I forget what county, Oklahoma. But she's like the grandma, Tiffany Adams, was like friends with the sheriff. Like another story you couldn't even make up. Gigi says, I have to get more silver bracelets and start engraving them. Thank you, everyone, for supporting my state of Texas. We truly appreciate everything. Shannon Scooper says, ha, the world is aware now. Thank you, Lana. Yeah, somebody mentioned this before, and now you're explaining it to me, so it'll remind me. This reminds me so much of Gary Plausch. Police captured his son's abductor, rapist, and the dad shot him in the airport. That's what it was, an airport, right? And there was like a payphone involved. This was all the way in the 80s. Yep, they charged him with manslaughter and probation. Aaron was not arrested at the scene, no. As far as I know, Veruca Salt. Lenny says, I meant Huckabee. Hi from me and Rescue Randy. I love your. Oh, hi, Rescue Randy. We miss you, Rescue Randy. I love you too. Happy Camper loves the rabbit hole. Christina became a new member. Welcome. Beth Ellen said any parent would do the same. Mm-hmm. Susie Q, new member. We just covered this one. Gigi's got silver bracelets. Thank you. And Lana, we covered. And Gigi gifted another 5 memberships. Thanks, Gigi. Double Trouble says, I donated $227. They're up to almost 3,000. They're up almost 3,000 since we started in 3 hours. You guys raised $1,000 an hour. Guys, you guys are awesome. I love that you're as passionate about justice. As passionate about justice as I am. Like, I couldn't even hold it together. Do you remember the day that we watched Brian Camp's verdict together? I think we all broke down and cried. Thank you, Double Trouble, for telling us. And thank you for donating $227 in the name of corruption. Oh, Lana, to get a membership, close out and go into the show notes below. It's hard if you're on an iPhone, but there's a link in the show notes that says something like become a member or join. I started Nightbot the other day, And then when I tried to use it, it started timing everyone out. But Nightbot is like to drop links. So I think if I can like prevent Nightbot from timing people out, I can start using it again and drop all the links for you. But it's crazy. And you guys are awesome. And yeah, the day that we watched Brian Camp acquitted, we were shooketh. We were shooketh. The day we watched Karen Reed acquitted, we were shooketh. I couldn't speak for I don't even know how long. And I was on with Mark Vetero and he tried to talk and I was like, Mark, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to stop. Don't talk yet. I'm not ready. I can't talk. I have to get together. Oh, Rumble is a free speech YouTube. Okay. Okay. I know about Discord and I hate it. I'm very against Discord. So do not talk about me in Discord. Do not start groups in my name in Discord. Discord is evil. It's where a lot of trafficking goes on. Someone just donated $1,000. Melanie Little's awesomeness. Hold on. Oh, you guys are going to make me cry. You guys are going to make me cry. What? Really? You guys. The fund is up to 17,000. I think it was at like 13 when we started. I can't. I can't. Hold on. It's over 17,000. You guys. I'm speechless. Ginger donated $1,000. And you can remain anonymous on the Give Send Go too. Wow. Lenny says, I was just curious about it. Didn't mean to cause drama. Thank you, Cupcakes. I don't even remember what your question was, Lenny, to be honest with you. We try and stay away from the drama. I don't know. Was it about politics of Sarah Huckabee? I don't know. It doesn't matter. You didn't do anything wrong. Don't apologize. Leela Cooper says, I just wrote an email to the governor. Thank you for sharing this info. This is the first I've heard of it. I lived in Arkansas for 30 years, corrupt as hell. Cindy RN retired says, got my sweatshirt. Love it so much, Melanie. Oh, that's awesome, Cindy. I guess it's time for some new merch, right? Because the free Karen Reed's been freed, and a lot of the stuff still says free Karen Reed on it. And Lana became a member. She found the link. Yay, Lana, you did it. You did it, girl. You did it. We did it, Joe. We did it. Mama Llama Texas says, evil triumphs when good men and women do nothing. People have to stand up for what is right, and people need to stand up for those who do. Preach, girl. Well done. Always, Abby V says, I watched Karen's acquittal with you, Melanie. I sobbed. Thank you for, I sobbed thinking about it. Boston Girl 79 says, cupcakes get things done. Oh, yes, we do. KVD says, we are all good people with good hearts and good souls here. Cupcakes are supporting. No, Jen, no, not at all. Wow, that's nice. Wish I could, but don't have that kind of cash. You know what you can do, Jen? It's not about the money. It's about spreading the word. It's about getting eyes on this case. Share the stream. Tell your friends about this because every parent should be outraged. They didn't keep this guy Fosler in jail. They let him out because he was maybe because he was former law enforcement from Indiana. I don't know. I can't prove that. But why'd they go light on that guy? Hey, Tammy. No, I think iPhones do allow to get membership gifts because I have an iPhone and I have been gifted on channels and it's random. She says, I've been trying to get one on so many groups for 2 years now. I still have not received one. Listen, if I could give them out, I would, or like do a lot or like a giveaway. I would, but I can't. There's no way for a creator to give people memberships, specific people memberships. And so keep trying. You'll get there. But it has nothing to do with being on an iPhone. It's just totally random. And everyone is thanking Ginger, whoever you are. Thank you for your generous donation. I know, Lady Di too. The family's probably like, what's going on? Who's Melanie Little? And why is she sharing our Give, Send, Go? But I I got a platform. I need to use it for something good instead of like drama and hatred and vitriol. And we need to do good. Oh, here's Ginger. She says it's from my creator above, not me. Ginger just donated $1,000 to the Give Send Go for the family to cover expenses of therapy and all their personal expenses. We talked about it before. So just rewind in the stream if you didn't see it, but you guys are incredible. I'm just an angry girl with a lot of opinions, an angry lawyer with a lot of opinions who's not afraid to share them. And Ginger, thank you. That makes me want to cry. Nobody's better than you guys. Yeah, just make sure you're opted into gifts so that you can receive them. 227 search happens says thanks for covering the important cases. Starkey Footnote says the cupcakes are amazing. Lady Laura says, I love us. I love us too. We live here now. We live here now. Al Dente is crying happy tears. Sober Girl says, yes, I've been so shook at the trials and verdicts we have talked about and spread. The truths are always with us. Remember Penny McGee? We saw Penny McGee acquitted too. She was on trial for manslaughter when her ex-husband died because they had a verbal argument in the foyer. And he died of a heart attack and he had a million pre-existing conditions. And Norfolk County, Massachusetts decided to charge her with manslaughter. And we watched Penny McGee acquitted on a bench trial with Judge Cannoni, of all things, right? Supergirl says we're the best on the YouTube. $62 away from 16K, except for now it's at, oops, $17,083. Because of Ginger. Peg says, thank you, Mel. This is so important. He was just trying to save his daughter. Ginger is in the chat. Yes, she is. Christy's here. She's been here forever. Christy, I think you're an OG, right? Christy, a painter's daughter. This is some amazing group of cupcakes. Here's Melanie Little's awesomeness and left swipe saying that started at 13,638. Now it's at 17,083, up $3,445. You guys are awesome. Did I see the judge's response to the Bettero letter? Well, he didn't respond. He just said, file it as a motion and he'll rule on it. But it wasn't like anything. Bettero didn't file that for a ruling. He filed it so the court would have a copy of it, but I guess Doolin sent it back. Adrian Elizabeth says up to over 17,000. Thank you. You guys are amazing. All we're doing is talking. KPT says, thank you for giving us a place to donate for good. Kat Randall gives it a membership. Thanks, Kat. Laura. Hi, Laura. Laura's back. You shine light to those who need it. Karen and Brian Camp are free, and you had helped raise money and awareness, Melanie. Thank you. Oh, it's now over 18,000? Hold on, I got to refresh. It is 18,268. I got to refresh my browser. Wow. Thank you, Laura. I'm glad we figured out the thing. YouTube has been so glitchy. So again, if you're blocked on this channel and for some reason you can't chat, please send me an email to the email below in the show notes. You have to find the email. Send me an email with the link to your YouTube channel, not your username, not your email, not your name, the link to your YouTube channel. Even if you don't like publish on your YouTube channel, you have a YouTube channel by default. Thanks, Adrienne Elizabeth. It's over 18K now, says Jessica. Yes, I will repost the link in the, but it comes up as like two different, super chats. So that's why you kind of have to see how it comes up as like two different like comments there. So it's like weird. So just hang on, let me see. And I can't pin it because my fingers are too fat. And when I click on it, it takes me to the link instead of allowing me to pin it. It's like a whole thing. It's like a whole thing. So anyway, I put it in there. Let me see if I go back into YouTube, if I can pin it through there. Let's see. Pin. There it is. Did that work? Is it pinned for you now? Thank you. Mitchell Samuel says you're doing a great job exposing this case. And Desert Quill says, God bless Ginger. And Helen Lewis became a new member. Welcome, Helen. They can run, but they can't hide from us. Thank you, Linda Lane. Whoever Donna is, thank you so much for that donation. Another $1,000 from Donna. Wow. Wow, Donna. You guys are awesome. Really. Like, you bring me to tears with your generosity and your you're amazing. There's something about JoJo. What happened to JoJo's sister? So thank you. It is now pinned in the chat. JoJo says, I need prayers. My sister-in-law is in the hospital with cancer. It's already in her bones. Sorry, Mel. I'm trying to hijack your chat. No, you're not. You can get all the prayers that you need. I'm heading out to the hospital now. Thank you all. Prayers up for JoJo and her sister-in-law. That's what we do here. The power of prayer works. I'm not kidding. You know it works. This is a powerful group. We got the energy now. We got the momentum. So let's do it. A lot of prayers up for JoJo. Snarky footnote says, just imagine this family's surprise when they see what has happened today. And you guys are all here for JoJo. You're so supportive of each other in the comments. This is like an amazing community that we built because the block button is my best friend, as it is the moderator's best friend, because we don't tolerate it. We don't tolerate the hatred and the vitriol and the mean girls and boys that come in here. People pay me money sometimes in a super chat just to personally insult me. Like, really? No, the block button is my best friend. All right. I would like to come back and do some more stuff because I have some more stuff to talk about. What do you guys, is there anything you guys want to talk about? Because we can do another show. This was 3 hours. We can come back in a little while and do another show. Let me know what you want to talk about. I'm very into this Annabelle thing right now. I also want to talk about Kelsey Fitzsimmons, Whack-A-Troll. That's what we call a little cupcake. Whack-A-Troll. Whack-A-Troll. Kelsey Fitzsimmons got suspended by Post. Sam Haskell took his life in jail while he was allegedly about to plead guilty to taking the life of his wife. How about the American Idol executive and her husband shot dead by some burglar in LA? And Nikki says, the first time I watched you in less than 2 minutes, someone paid $1.99 to insult you. You guys went down the Annabelle hole too? Delphi transcripts are now available. Transcripts, like trial transcripts? I don't have time to read those. I'm sure Defense Scott Dyers will cover that, and Andrew Burkhart. Like they've been covering Delphi from jump. Dealer's choice. Hey, Liz says, I love this community you've created, the cupcakes, mods, and you are wonderful. It's the best. Another 1,000 from Donna. I just saw that. So it's now at 18,328. Oh, the Oklahoma Panhandle thing. Well, Jessica, I did shows on it. Just look in my previous shows. Update on Carly. I don't know anything on Carly yet. It's like, I think the streams there's a whole playlist on it. Kansas Moms Missing. I'll tell you what the playlist is called. It is called and I did the news while it was breaking, and Rock Chalk was boots on the ground. Remember, Rock Chalk was boots on the ground in the Oklahoma Panhandle. She got in her truck. She went down there with her dogs. It's called Veronica Butler and Jillian Kelly. Kansas Moms Missing in Oklahoma. And there were 4 videos. Covered it while it was going on, while they had disappeared. And the search was ongoing, and then covered it again when they made arrests on it. And that was it says that it was a year ago. And I have not covered it a lot since because I've been kind of single thread on Karen Reed and I feel bad about it. This happened April of 2024. Annabelle is a possessed doll, like a Raggedy Ann doll, that if you watch any of the Conjuring movies were based on this doll, Annabelle. And this doll, Annabelle, is like apparently possessed or something. She's a demon, right? And Zelda's in the Venmo. She's like, I would love to have you on my show to talk about Annabelle. Please think about it. I said, oh, come on your show whenever you want. You want to do a reading for me? Whatever you want. You want to talk about Annabelle? Jump into the rabbit hole and tell me when. I'll come in. I've always been fascinated by the paranormal, fascinated by, all things like that. And what happened was they took Annabelle on a tour, and the original people, Lorraine Warren and her husband, said, don't ever touch Annabelle. Don't ever move Annabelle. They moved Annabelle with holy water. It's great. Like, I can't even, there's not even enough time for me to just explain it to you without like pulling up a bunch of like articles and telling you about it. And many horrible things have happened around the Annabelle doll, and it's insane. And now the handler of Annabelle just dropped dead in Gettysburg while they were on tour with this Annabelle doll of apparently we don't even know what. He was a very healthy man, and he just died out of nowhere in Gettysburg. Thank you, Dawn. Here's a way to get into the trial, but you can't stream it. Oh, I heard, Dawn, though, that the WebEx on the James Craig is not open. You have to be media to get into it, that it's not public. So I don't know, but thank you so much for that. Dolls creep me out because of that, says Kat Randall. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. A lot of new members. Helen is a new member. Adrian is a new member. The Goodmans are here and they gifted a membership. Nezu is a new member. Selma Martin says Amarillo Globe News said 2 defendants in the Oklahoma, Kansas mom murder have made deals to testify. Thank you for that. That's going to involve a lot more research than I have time to do today to catch up on. But thank you. I have to get back into it. Caroline became a member. She's like, Texas became a new member. And Kat Randall says, ooh, dolls creep me out because of that. All right, let me set up a new stream. Let's come back. What time do you want to? Let's come back at 3:30. USMC Cowgirl can email me all the court documents available to date in the Kansas mom case if you want. Of course, I'll take it. I'll take all the documents. That's going to involve a lot more research for me. But I got to get on and see what's going on in Massachusetts because there's a bunch of stuff we can talk about that we haven't really caught up on Kelsey Fitzsimmons and some other stuff in Karen Reed that we never got into about like the wedding of Caitlyn and all that stuff. But I got a couple of things that I got to take care of. So let's come back at 3:30. So let me set up a new stream. And then I can redirect you to the afternoon stream. So hold it, please, for one moment. What day is it? Today is Thursday. Kelsey Fitzsimmons. All right. We'll make it, what did I say? 3:30? Guys, take an hour, go eat lunch, go do all the things. Spread the word on Erin Spencer. And we're going to come back because we got a lot of other things to cover. But I wanted to make the Erin Spencer show a separate show because I want people to be able to find it and learn about it and try and help the family if we can. Try and get the word out about the horrific injustice that is being perpetuated on a dad protecting his daughter when the courts didn't. And isn't it ironic, don't you think? A little too ironic that the exact same judge that let out Michael Fosler on a $5,000 cash bond is the same one who's handling Erin Spencer's case and issued a sua sponte, pretty much gag order. And then they had to go all the way to the Supreme Court of Arkansas to get that gag order overturned. And now that there's no gag order, and even if there was, I wouldn't care. We ain't got no quit. And we ain't shutting up. And KBD says, we raised around $5,000 in just a couple of hours. We've been here for 3.5 hours. And you guys are the best. You're amazing. All right. I'm going to teleport you over to the new, I don't know how that's not a conflict of interest either. Thank you, Music to My Soul, for saying the quiet part out loud. I deserve a peace prize. Thank you, Peace Prayer. I don't want any prizes. I just want justice for people. That's all. I don't want innocent people to be prosecuted and persecuted and have to defend themselves and spend tons of money defending themselves against bogus charges. It's outrageous. And more people need to be involved and need to know about it and need to care about it. My friend Josh has the dentist thing. Maybe he will share. I don't know where he got it from. Thanks, eBay Warhol. Tracy. All right. Somebody said, can we call, instead of buckle up buttercups, can we say buckle up buttercream? Because it fits with the cupcake theme. Howie Carr has me in his show open. What do you mean? He's talking about me. Howie Carr's talking about me again. Good. I like it. Howie Carr watches my show. He's amazing. All right. Buckle up buttercream, buttercups, and all the things. Thank you, moderators, for keeping it classy. I know it's not always easy, which is why we have a long waiting period to get into chat because people can't be nice. Some people can't be nice. Buckle up, buttercups. Stay cool, stay kind, stay classy. We'll be back here in an hour to talk about a lot of more things. And we are with you, Erin. Justice for Erin Spencer. Safe travels. I'll see you over there in an hour. Go take it, have a drink, hydrate, eat, have a snack. Peace. You guys are amazing. You guys are amazing. And you raised over $5,000 in just a couple of hours for the family. So I will see you 3:30 Eastern, which is exactly like an hour from now. Peace.